Sorry if anyone's here. I ran late. I got distracted on Discord. Just finding the video where we left off after the end of the opening statements. I don't even know who the first witness is. See, opening statements. We did that one. Okay, here we go. Paul O'Keefe. Hey, Cheryl. Thanks for coming. So the first witness is Paul O'Keefe. That's where we're going to get started today. Sorry, I got distracted on Discord. I'm sure you know what about. If you haven't seen, yeah. I don't know if I want to get into this on here because I could go off for the next 30 minutes about the crap I just looked up regarding what's been floating around the twat today. You haven't seen it today? Okay, yeah. They look at Turtle Boy's he just posted a short. That'll give you an idea. But basically, 5150 posted Alex's results of his polygraph on the internet and posted it with the supposed examiner's name and contact information. So Aiden called the numbers and tried to talk to him. And yeah, I know. So people obviously are doing sleuthing and trying to figure out if this guy's legit, not legit, if this is fake, not fake. And of course, that guy, which I questioned more than anything, answered the business phone hello, not and okay. That was just me because other people have pointed out that if it's his business cell phone, maybe he just answers it hello. Okay. Also have other issues with it. Just he didn't even start asking questions about who he was talking to until like Aiden asked several questions, and he apparently admitted to Aiden that that the guy that Alex flew to New York to take this polygraph. That's what he admitted to Aiden before they ended up hanging up. So yeah, I'd recommend watching that. Yeah. Because if he's on probation, my biggest thing has always been, even when they started that GoFundMe, him saying he wants to get a CDL license, like, how do you cross state lines? How do you fly to New York? Unless he got permission. And I don't think he would have gotten permission that quickly. But that's just my opinion. Anyways, yeah, I could literally spout off about this for the next 30 minutes if I wanted to, but this is not the time for that. We are going to watch Paul O'Keefe and see what kind of drama I can get off that instead. All right.
Ready, Ms. Tillali.
Thank you. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Could you
volume
please
is
state your
okay.
name and spell your last name? Paul O'Keefe, last name O apostrophe capital K E-E-F-E.
And where do you live, sir?
I live in
You
West
can get
Bridgewater,
permission, yeah.
Massachusetts.
I think you can,
And,
but I mean, with how quickly, I mean, I know people, and I literally worked for the Michigan on a contract that we had a contract with Michigan Department of Corrections. I dealt with probation officers and parole officers every single day, and the convicts and probationers and all that. This was years ago, and in Michigan, so I understand if it's different, but I have never seen someone get permission to go out of state line in a couple days. Like, just, I don't know. That's to me, it's unless it was urgent and he's got a main line to his probation officer or he was already due to see him. But normally that stuff is reviewed and isn't just a split second decision, no matter what the reason. So I don't know. Hey, Maylin. Good to see you. Thank you for coming. Sorry, I was spouting off about the drama over the polygraph tests for a second. But that'll be another stream. When the shit comes up, I don't know. I get stuck in my own head about it sometimes. But yeah, see, Cheryl, I agree. I think someone paid someone to make a legit something, type it up and make it look legit. Like, how easy is that? Here, I'll give you $500 to break the law. And someone who needed it probably did it. Like, I don't know. Again, just my opinion. All right, let's get into Paul O'Keefe drama. Oh, God. Thank you, Maylin. Yeah, that doesn't sound like fun. 120 uniform bags? Hey, Sarah! Yeah, I am going through all of new Karen Reed's first trial. Since I know this is your first time to my channel, I'm so glad you're here. At least that I know of. So I have been going through all the pretrial motions. We just finished opening statements. Oh, thank you, Sarah. I appreciate that. I always can, I have people in my own family who make fun of my voice and the way I talk. So thank you. You have no idea what that means to me. You have no idea. But anyway, so we're starting the actual prosecution's case now. We're starting with Paul O'Keefe. We went through opening statements yesterday. And I guess my first question today is, am I going to make fun of Lally's hair again? Let's find out. I haven't seen what he looks like. Although this is probably right after opening statement, so I'm assuming it's the same day. So that doesn't really matter. But yeah, his hair bugs me. I don't know what's with the sideways mohawk on someone who of his age. It just doesn't make sense. Not to mention the excessive amount of product in his hair. Oh, thank you, Cheryl. You're so sweet. No, I seriously, I'm not joking. I probably shouldn't say this, although he'll probably never even know I have a YouTube channel, let alone listen to it. So my dad makes fun of me because I talk too fast, and he constantly tells me that he can't understand me because I'm slurring my words together. And oh yeah, I mean, it's nonsense. It's not just every now and then. It's every phone conversation. No joke. Every single time. All right. Sorry, I'm getting distracted again by pop-ups on my computer from Discord. All right. Paul O'Keefe, let's begin.
How long have you lived there?
10 years.
And who, if anyone, do you live there with?
My wife, Erin, our
you guys that say I sound great
And,
and
how old are you?
giving me a compliment about my
13
voice.
and 10.
You have no idea what it
And,
truly
both
means to
daughters,
me.
is
I
that
have
correct?
to say
Correct.
that again. You have no idea. I
And
truly
how long
appreciate
have
it.
you and your wife been together?
Together, 24 years total. Married for 17 almost.
Okay. What is your wife's name?
Erin,
And where did you grow up?
Braintree, Massachusetts.
And what are your parents' names?
My father is John, mother is Margaret.
And did you have any siblings?
2, yes. My sister Kristen.
Why is he getting into his whole family tree? I'm already confused.
Excuse me, brother John.
Where are you going with this, Lally?
And what was sort of the order and age as far as the siblings?
My sister was the oldest. My brother was the middle. I'm the youngest, so my sister was 5 years older than me, and my brother was 3.5 years older than me.
And do you work, sir?
I do.
What do you do for work?
I'm in sales for a company, Simmons Industries, which is a manufacturer of plumbing products.
How long have you been doing that?
12 years now.
Does your wife work as well?
She does.
What does she do?
She's in marketing. She works for a mechanical contractor out of Randolph.
And about how long has she been doing that?
She's been with her company for a year and a half now. Before that, she had a job working out of Boston for about 13 years.
And your brother John.
I'm assuming that's
Call
for
him John, or was
credibility
there like a
purposes.
nickname or anything else that you refer to?
I mean, we
I
all
don't
call
think
him
it really
Johnny,
matters what his
especially
wife
if you're
does
family.
for a living to give him credibility.
And what did Johnny do for work?
Boston Police,
How long was he a member of the Boston Police?
16 years.
And within the Boston Police, where specifically did he sort of work?
He started in Hyde Park, Mattapan area, which I believe is E18, and transferred over to Dorchester, which is C11, and then downtown Boston for in the SOAR unit, which is the sex offender registry unit.
And when was it about that he started with the sex offender registry?
So after my sister had passed away in 2013, her husband passed away 2 months after that. My brother.
Well, this part is going to make me
He
sad.
took on responsibility of raising our niece and nephew. And so the Boston
Because
Police,
no matter the issues
to ensure
with
that he was safe and
fellowship
protected,
and all the stuff, the
moved into
drama
that
that goes
unit
online with
in
him, he
2014.
didn't do anything.
And I'm sorry to ask you this, but your sister passed away in 2013, is that correct?
Correct.
Well,
What
really?
did your
Wow.
sister pass away?
She had an aggressive brain tumor, which is called glioblastoma.
And about how much
Wow.
time
Oh
was
my
it between
God.
the time that she sort of received the diagnosis?
He was on Boston's Finest.
5.5 months.
Oh my God, Cheryl, you have
And,
to.
you mentioned that, you had a
Sorry, I'm gonna pause this. Sorry, Paul. Did you get any scoop on Brian Albert, like what he was like in real life? Like, was he as, I for lack of a better word, douchey as everybody else who knows him or has said shit about him on that I have seen anyway? They think Karen is. Oh my God, are you serious? Your family? You're. See, this is one of the biggest things I do not get. Like, how I understand, like, his family. I understand, Officer John O'Keefe's family thinking that she's guilty. They, as far as I could see, they didn't really like her. And this was the easiest conclusion in their head, and being somewhat in denial. I get all that, especially from a psychological standpoint. Sarah, which is something I've explained this, I think, several times, but I'll explain it. I'm going to explain it every show just in case. I've started my channel specifically to get into psychological phenomenon in regards to trial cases, but was starting out with the Karen Read, especially within group thinking, because my education is in psychology. And the whole mentality of the anti-Karen Read movement has just boggled my mind for a long time. And so I was working on a video regarding group thinking in the Karen Read movement. And I realized I had never seen the whole first trial. I never even watched anything regarding Karen Read until after the first trial was done and over with. So yes, I've seen snippets here and there and clips of testimony, but I've never seen it in its entirety. So there's testimony from the first trial and things that I have not seen at all. And I thought, okay, I can't really do this complete evaluation or whatever without seeing everything in its entirety. And I figured nothing is more boring than watching an old trial, especially with Lally as the prosecutor, than watching it sitting at home, watching it by myself. And I figured if I did that, I would end up putting it aside all the time and never end up finishing it. So I figured, well, let's stream it. Let's see if there's anyone else out there who hasn't seen it in its entirety and wants to watch it or wants to revisit some classic moments. What the heck? It's better to watch it with a few people than, by yourself. So that's my little spiel. Oh, you don't speak to them about it? Yeah, I bet. When she saw my license plate. Oh, yeah, I know what it is. Okay, yeah. Oh, well, it stays. That's so awesome. But I totally understand. You just avoid subjects where you have that kind of disagreement with your family. I totally get it. Totally get it. I do it all the time, unfortunately. All right. Back to Paul O'Keefe.
Brother-in-law, Kristen's husband, is that correct?
Correct. Stephen Furbush, yes.
And when was it that he passed in relation to?
2 months later, which was January 12th, 2014.
And by they,
Oh, no,
I
you're
mean
fine,
Kristen
Carol.
and Stephen Furbush, they had two children, is that
No,
correct?
I appreciate this. It's funny. Mary B said the exact same thing yesterday. Exact same thing. That she stopped distracting me. But no, I truly appreciate it because, these things get long and drawn out and boring. And I have said more times than I can count in life in general, not just this kind of stuff. I say it to, people I talk to that know nothing about Karen Reed, that in the kind of world we live in, especially nowadays with all the crap that is out, the stresses of real life and in the world that's going on worlds away, but you see it all day and all night online. You need some levity. So, watching something like this, as for the first time for me, repeat for some of you, we need a break and to laugh about it. That's why I love watching Baker's channel, like trying to keep up on some of the newer trials and stuff, because he is the same way. He stops and even though he always says his daytime streams aren't for the drama and all that, he still breaks now and then for some levity, some lightheartedness, a few laughs, because you just have to. You just have to. Or else if you surround yourself with depressing things all day and never have a chance to laugh about it or about anything else, you're just going to become depressed in the world that we live in today. It's just the way it is. Aw, thanks, Sarah. We'll keep you company for sure. We'll keep you company. Oh, don't worry. I'm sure you'll hear me make fun of Lally some more. I already made fun of him, the last couple days.
It's 2 children, Kaylee and Patrick.
Which one is old?
Kaylee's the older. Patrick's a couple years younger than her, about 3 years.
How old are they now?
Kaylee is 16 and Patrick is 13.
And you mentioned, so initially when your sister Kristen passed away, what was sort of the family's plan as far as Kaylee and Patrick were concerned?
Can you repeat that?
Sure. So initially when your sister Kristen passed away and her husband Stephen was still alive, what was sort of the initial plan as far as with reference to the children?
We were kind of in scramble mode to figure out, how we were going to move forward. My wife and I had talked about having the kids come live with us. We had 2 small children at the time. 3 and 8 months were my children. We didn't have a, large enough house to take on 2 other children. So my brother stepped in, moved into the house in Canton and raised them for 8 years.
And so around this time of 2013, your sister Kristen and her husband Stephen's children, about how old were they at this time that Johnny sort of took over
Kaylee was 6. Patrick was 3.
Now, when your brother Johnny...
You're not the first
sort
person
of,
to tell me that,
What,
Sarah.
if any, sort of legal relationship did he have to your niece and nephew, Kaylee and Patrick?
He was made a legal guardian.
And where did he move from, and where did he move to when he assumed that role?
So he was living in Dorchester.
It's hard to
in
pay
a condo.
attention to everything on the first go around, you know?
He
It's
was
just
living by himself, so he
difficult.
pretty much moved into my sister
Exactly.
and brother-in-law's house in Canton. Lived there for, I want to say, 4 years until sold the house and bought a different house, which is also located in Canton.
Now, the initial house that your sister Kristen and her husband Stephen lived in with Kaylee and Patrick, about how long had they been living there before your brother?
Do you
John
think
moved?
we could speed this up to like, I don't know if 1.5 is going to be too fast?
They were probably there
Let's
for
try it and see.
5 or
'Cause
6
I don't
years.
want to really miss anything, but I don't
Prior
want
to
to go
that,
through
where-
this
where
in
has,
real time.
um,
It'll take
Sister
forever.
Kristen and either of the children
Let's see.
lived prior to moving into that.
Let's try 1.5
Yeah, so
and
they,
see how
Kristen and Steve actually moved in with Johnny in Dorchester when Kaylee was just a baby. Lived with him for
Tell
approximately
me
a
if
year
you guys
before they
think
bought
this
their
is
home
too
in Canton.
fast.
Now,
If it is, we'll go down to 1.2.
well, you mentioned that at some point your brother bought a second house in Canton and moved in there with the kids. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, around what time was that?
I want to say 2017 or 2018 timeframe.
And they lived there up and through sort of January 28th, 29th of 2022. Is that correct?
Correct.
Now, around that particular time of January 2020.
Cheryl, you think it's okay? Okay,
about
good.
how
If you
often,
guys
did
end
you
up
see your brother
anytime
Johnny
you
and
think
Ken?
it's going too fast, like during someone's
I would say
testimony,
probably
like
every
if
other
they
week,
speak
once a month.
faster, let me know and we'll slow it down
And
for
your
that
brother
one
in particular,
here.
how often would you communicate with him during that time?
Communicate regularly, mostly through text messaging. A couple days a week, I would say.
Now, over the course of time, you said about 8 years or so that Johnny had sort of custody of Kaylee and Patrick, correct?
Correct.
And over that course of time, about how many relationships, and well, let me phrase this question first. About how many long-term relationships did your brother Johnny have with women over the course of that time? And before you get to that, if I could just ask you what your definition of long-term relationship is.
Long-term relationship is, over a year.
And so how many of those types of dating relationships that lasted for at least a year did your brother have during that time that he had the kids?
2.
And who were those 2 individuals?
Amy Fortney and Karen Reed.
And this other individual, Amy, when about was it that your brother dated her?
2016, 2017 timeframe, I think.
And did this other woman that he dated named Amy, did she have children of her own?
Yeah, she had 2 sons.
Now, you mentioned 2, so other than Amy, who was the other?
Her 2 sons' names are Gabriel and Christian.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
In reference to, you mentioned 2 women that your brother had dated for a long-term period, correct?
Yes, correct.
And one of them was the woman Amy that you were just speaking about, correct?
Correct.
And who was the second?
Karen Reed.
And is Karen Reed someone that you had met through the course of your brother dating her?
Yes.
Just to be clear for the record, do you see Ms. Reed in the courtroom today? Do you identify as to where she's seated or an article of clothing that she's
Yep. She is seated right there between Mr. Yannetti and Mr. Jackson.
Just as a record reflect identification of the defendant by the way. No
Yeah.
objection.
Yes.
Now, Mr. O'Keefe, when was it that you first met Karen?
I believe it was Mother's Day. So maybe May of 2020.
Now, prior to that, were you aware of any other time when Ms. Reed and your brother Johnny had dated in the past?
They dated very briefly in 2004.
And had you had occasion to meet her during that brief period where they dated in 2004?
I did not meet her back then, no.
And so the first time you met her would have been sometime in the spring of 24, correct?
Correct.
And what was your understanding as far as when they had reconnected or gotten back together in reference to when you met her?
They reconnected. I believe my brother reached out to her in March of 2020, right at the beginning of COVID. I think he reached out to her via Facebook Messenger and then, text.
And they resumed some kind of relationship, and you had occasion to meet or see Karen Reed over the course of hanging out with your brother at various occasions, correct?
Correct, yep.
Now, about how often would you see Ms. Reed? Would it be the same, more or less than when you saw your brother?
Almost the same, maybe a little less. If my brother was just, it was just him and I or his friends, but for the most part, he was with Karen.
And as far as your understanding, what was sort of the living arrangements with regard to Ms. Reed and your brother?
She has her own home in Mansfield, Massachusetts. She would stay at my brother's house in Canton, I would say 3, maybe 4 nights a week.
And that would be at your brother's house with both he and your niece and nephew?
Correct.
Now, with regard to, you mentioned that they reconnected sometime around the COVID-19 pandemic. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
And with regard to your brother and defendant Ms. Reed and the children, what was sort of going on as far as school and work with regard to the pandemic, with regard to each of them?
So that was a period of time when schools were closed and kids had to do remote learning. So Kaylee and Patrick were both at home, remote learning, and my brother, didn't have a job where he can work remote, so he had to go into the office. And most of the time, Karen would be at home with the kids during the day while she worked remotely.
Now, you mentioned earlier that your brother had a legal guardianship role with regard to the children, correct?
Correct, yes.
What, if any, legal status or role did the defendant have with regard to the children?
She didn't have any.
Now, with regard to your brother and the defendant's relationship, what, if any, conversations did you have with your brother in regard to status of their relationship or any issues in their relationship?
He didn't say too much. If they were arguing, he might, give reference that they were arguing. Didn't really tell me what they were arguing about, but mostly kept that stuff to himself.
What, if anything, did he mention to you as far as reasons for an argument or sort of points of contention?
He didn't like, if she would spend a lot of money on the kids for gifts, or, I know there were some arguments over, what she fed them, whether it's, Dunkin' Donuts or whatnot, but those things along those lines.
I've seen parts
what, if any,
of
occasions,
this,
as far as they're arguing or anything like that, did you observe personally yourself?
and nothing to speak ill of the deceased. But I never understood that. Like, if your girlfriend is treating your kids like, their own, basically, and like giving them treats and spending money on them, I thought, wouldn't that be a good thing? Like, I understand if maybe you want to raise the kids with certain, like, I don't even know the word I use for it, but not spoil them. Maybe he thought she was spoiling them. Why is it an argument? Why isn't it just like, hey, I think maybe we should back off a little bit on this, giving them too much, whether it's sweets or presents, or I don't want them to be spoiled, but there's still a way about that it wouldn't be an argument, I would think. I don't understand why a guy would be so upset about his girlfriend spoiling his kids that they would cause a fight. I don't know.
Yeah, I witnessed. So they had rented a house down in Cape Cod. That was summer of 2021. I brought my two daughters down for a couple nights, and I witnessed, one intense fight between the two of them.
And as far as a fight as you're characterizing that, was that anything physical or just verbal?
No, it was a verbal argument.
And what, if anything, was that verbal argument about?
It's hard to recall. I mean, I guess like typical couples fighting. There was alcohol might have been involved. I recall her complaining that he wasn't nice to her, or something to that effect. And,
Sarah.
I was kind of the referee in that entire situation.
Now, when you make reference to alcohol involved, was that one or both?
Or? Both.
Both your brother and the defendant?
Correct.
Now, if I could turn your attention to New Year's, and specifically New Year's Eve, going from 2021 into 2022. You recall that time?
I do.
And do you recall where you and your family were for that sort of New Year celebration? Yeah,
so I was with my wife and her family. We went to Aruba the day after Christmas in celebration of my wife's mother's 70th birthday.
So during that New Year's Eve, you were in Aruba for your wife's mother's 70th birthday, correct?
Correct.
And
really? You and your sideways mohawk?
Yes.
Oh my God!
And your resort and your brother's resorts, where were they in relation to each other?
They were pretty much on.
I can just picture.
And at any point in time when you were
but I
in
can
Aruba,
picture Lally in the morning getting ready, and he's got a suit on. He's like, "Damn, I look hot today." It's like, let's get my hair right, and he's so nervous. He just keeps putting more and more of that gel and keeps putting in his hair. And he's like, "Nope, it's not perfect yet. Nope, it's not perfect yet. I need some more. I need some more." And then he looks down at his jar of gel and is like, "Oh shit, it's all gone. No. I'm going to need some more for tomorrow." Sorry. That's what I picture when I look at his hair.
did you see your brother at any point?
Unfortunately, we did not.
Now, you mentioned that you were there with your wife and your children. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Do you know who your brother was in Aruba with around that same time?
He was with Karen Reed and brought the kids. So Kaylee and Patrick were with him. They were also with a large group, many other couples and families.
you know who was sort of the primary organizer of that group that your brother was with?
Yes, a friend of ours, Laura Sullivan.
And how did you know Laura Sullivan?
I knew Laura through my brother. She had dated my brother's partner and one of his best friends, Pat Rogers.
And,
Thank
did
you,
Ms.
local
Sullivan and Mr.
lad.
Rogers
I'm
have a
glad to
child
see
together?
Yes,
you.
good boy.
And at some point, did Mr. Rogers pass away?
Yes.
And yes,
What
I've
was sort of
already
the
made
relationship
fun of
between Sullivan
Wally's hair.
and Ms. Sullivan in relation to Ms. Rogers' child?
Johnny was, so she has a son, Benjamin, who Johnny is godfather to.
And sort of towards the end of your stay in Aruba, with regard to the pandemic, what, if anything, happened to you or any other member of the family?
So my older daughter tested positive for COVID. So her and I kind of got left behind, stayed for an extra 3 or 4 days, I believe.
Damn it.
So after you returned from
Before I
Aruba,
started
at
this,
some point,
moving around.
were you and
Sorry,
your brother trying
there's
to make plans
lots
to
of
connect
noise.
or to hang out or see each other at some point in January 2020?
Yes, we were actually planning on getting together on January 29th.
And do you recall what day of the week that was?
That was a Saturday.
And why was it Saturday? Why were you sort of targeting Saturday as a weekend?
Weekend,
Sorry,
work.
Sarah.
Kids didn't really have much on the
You get
schedule.
what I'm saying?
By that you mean your kids as well as
Correct. Yes.
And then what, if anything, occurred with
I-
reference to those plans?
See,
as far
now
as
that
when it comes to
I'm
fruition?
starting to get myself to
big
think
snowstorm.
about it, I could literally see him on the way to court. Like, damn, I better get some in case it's too hot in there. I'm gonna need to refresh during the first morning break. Damn it. Oh, gross. Oh.
Hit the area, and you know, we said, maybe it's probably better if we just stay home and off the roads. So we kind of canceled getting together the day before.
So initially had a meeting for the 29th, but canceled it the day before on the 28th.
Correct.
So
Thank
this
you for
snowstorm that you were
making
talking
me
about, this
laugh,
coming in, is that
Sarah.
something that you and your brother were aware of prior to that day it happened?
Yes.
And was that something you learned of? Where did you learn about that?
The news.
So sort of all over the news, is that fair to say?
Correct. Yes.
And as far as either you, your children, or John's children, for lack of a better term,
See, now,
were there any sort of planned
I
activities
know.
for that day
Sorry,
that
Paul.
canceled because of
I
weather?
gotta pause you again because the fun, yeah, it's gotta itch. That's 100% sure. I mean, especially like he's in a full-on suit, like suit and tie in a courtroom that's small and full of people. So you know it's gotta be hot in there. Like the minute, I mean, I can't wait to see the first time he touches his head, like his hair on camera, and it's like, oh, my fingers almost got stuck. Damn it. Like, ew. So gross. But I have to say, ironically enough, my kind of guy is more like the hair on Paul O'Keefe here. My ex-husband shaved his head. Like, and my boyfriend before that shaved his head. Like, and the last guy I dated didn't have a shaved head, but he didn't really have a lot of hair. He used to, clip it down all the way pretty much. The whole gel in a guy's hair, especially that, just ugh.
On that Saturday, the 29th, I mean, I think everything was pretty much canceled. I don't know anything specific. We had, my daughters had basketball on Friday night, the night before, but we didn't really
Ooh,
have any plans,
Cheryl, what are you having for
for children
dinner
on Saturday.
today?
Now, turning your attention to that day of the 28th. So the day before that was Friday, is that correct?
Yes, correct.
And you mentioned that your daughters had basketball that evening, is that correct?
Correct.
And what, if any, role do you have in regard to your daughter's basketball?
I coach.
Oh,
both
I
their teams.
forgot. I was supposed to
And so
keep
you
a
coached 2
tally
games that Friday night?
on how much
And,
Lally
about what time do you know?
uses the
you
term,
sort of get
what
home
if
from all
any?
that?
First game was at 6, second game was at 7:15.
I think I've heard
so
it
we got
already
home
like 15 times.
8:30ish.
And your wife was with you at both of your daughter's games?
Correct.
And when you got home, the snow that had been predicted, had it started at that point where you were?
I noticed the first flurries sometime between 10:30 and 11 p.m.
And if you know, approximately what time did you go to bed then?
Right around probably midnight.
And your wife, Erin, did she go to bed same time as you?
I think she went to bed a little before me. Yes.
Now, earlier in that day, that Friday, the 28th, what, if any, conversation by any means did you have with your brother John?
With
My
respect.
last communication with
Okay,
him
I'll
was
listen
on a
to
group
that
text
too.
exchange that included myself, Karen Reed, and my mother.
Oh,
he was,
sorry, Cheryl. I
excited
hate when you do that. When you
because,
take
our
the
niece Kaylee
chicken
had
out and it's
gotten
already
accepted to,
spoiled, or
Bishop
you
Fee High
left it in
School.
the freezer too long,
So
so it's
he
got
was
too much
happy,
freezer burn to like
proud at that
use.
moment.
Ugh.
And then
Well, that sounds yummy,
Patrick's
burritos.
national math scores
Now
came
I'm
back and he
hungry. Damn
scored
it.
extremely high. So he was extremely proud of Patrick that day as well.
So we
I'm
had
gonna
sort of
look
sent
for
your brother
these
John
two,
sort of sent that
Sarah.
to the group, which included yourself, your mother, and Miss Reed.
Correct.
And Uni Scaly, as far as what grade was she in and what grade was she going into as far as that application to?
Yeah, so she was 8th grade going into 9th, freshman year in high school.
You go to bed at some point in the evening of the 28th, and you woke up on the 29th. Do you recall what woke you up on that morning?
Yes, my mother called me at 6:40 a.m.
Is that something typical?
No. She called and just said something happened to your brother. They found him in the snow and they took him to the hospital.
And which hospital was it?
Good Samaritan in Brockton, Massachusetts.
And at that point, did you, or what if any other sort of information did you have as to what had happened to you?
I really didn't know much until I got to the hospital. While I was at the hospital, my cousin works 911 dispatch, so she came down because she had heard. And the only thing I was able to get was that, you know, he was cold and they needed to warm him up. But I didn't have much information other than that.
So you get that information from your cousin when you get to the hospital, correct?
Correct.
That cousin, what was her name?
Susanna Hensley.
If I could take you back to just prior, so you initially get the phone call from your mother, Peggy O'Keefe, is that correct?
Correct.
That's about 6:40 in the morning.
Correct.
And your wife Erin is with you at that time, is that correct?
Correct.
And so you get that call, and sort of what is it that you do, or sort of how quickly are you out the door?
I jumped out of bed, got changed, brushed my teeth, and I was out the door.
And you drove from your house to
Yes, I drove myself from my house to the hospital, Good Samaritan Hospital.
And what kind of car did you have at that point, if you know?
A Toyota 4Runner.
That's a SUV?
That's an SUV, yes.
What color was that?
Black.
And as far as the road conditions, visibility, sort of when you're driving from West Bridgewater to Brockton, what, if anything, did you observe as far as how the road was?
Driving was very poor that morning and just
So
continued to get worse
what
throughout the day.
if
So it
any,
took me,
or what
longer
if
than
anything?
usual,
God, it's like
than
all
it
he
typically would
says.
to drive that distance.
Now, as far as your parents were concerned, did they come to the Good Samaritan Hospital as well?
Yes, our friend Kerry Roberts picked them up in Braintree and brought them to the hospital in Brockton.
And when you say your friend Kerry Roberts, how do you know Kerry Roberts?
So we grew up in Braintree. She grew up in Braintree as well. 2 years older than me. Knew my brother. They went to homecoming together one year. And she also resides in Canton.
So she was someone who had grown up with you, and your brother was friends with you, and also friends with your brother, correct?
Correct.
Now, as far as your arrival at the Good Samaritan, who arrived first? Was it you, your parents, or something else?
I got there first.
And about how long was it, if you know, between the time that you got there and the time that your parents arrived there with the brothers?
Probably about 45 minutes.
And when you arrived at the Good Samaritan Medical Center, where within the facility did you sort of go?
Emergency room waiting area, lobby.
And at some point, after your parents arrived, did you move from the waiting room area to somewhere else within the hospital?
So when my parents arrived, they brought us, in the double doors into like a little family sitting room.
And
Yeah,
about how long was it that you were in the family sitting room before you went?
that's not going to happen.
So we were in the waiting room.
You'd already be
Doctor and
like
nurse came in,
ready to
and told us that
pass out.
all their efforts to save my
And
brother
we're not even halfway
were
through the
unsuccessful,
first
and he
witness.
passed away. And then asked if we wanted to go see him, in which we said yes. So we left that room and walked down the hallway to this hospital room.
And that doctor you spoke to, do you recall what the doctor's name was?
Dr. Rice.
And when you say that we went down to the room where your brother was that everyone in the group?
It was myself and my parents, yes.
And Miss Roberts, did she go as well, or did she?
No, she stayed out in the waiting area.
And as you were making your way down to the room where they had your brother, what if anything occurred along the way?
So I noticed Karen Reed was there. She was being restrained by hospital employees, and she was, screaming out to us, asking if he was alive.
Is that something that she screamed out once, more than once, or something?
Several times.
Now, at some point, you went into the room where your brother was, correct?
Correct.
And can you describe to the jury sort of what you
I'm
saw?
sorry,
as far as
but
your-
like right
your
there, right
Um,
there, if she is
he was-
running around the hospital, obviously hysterical from what she saw and just dealt with, and still to this point has hope, at least a little bit, that he could have survived by asking whether he was, gone or not. Like, you right there tells you that this was, whether you think she hit him or not, right there it tells you nothing was intentional. If prior to all the knowledge we have now, right there in his case from the decedent's brother shows something that shows that she did not in any way do this with any intent or knowledge. And yet they still charged her with the big M. Like, I'm sorry. It doesn't make sense to me.
Pretty banged up. He had his eyes had swelled up. He had a breathing tube in, well, a mask anyway. Blood come down his nose, blood come down his mouth. But what really stood out to me was, the eyes. It was almost as if like there were ping pong balls under his eyelids. They were that swollen.
Now, in addition to what you observed as far as his eyes, what, if any, other sort of injuries did you observe on any other part of your brother's body?
I noticed.
And I've
Some markings
seen
on his arm.
coup contra coups a lot. I used to work
Didn't look at his lower
living
torso area at all because it was covered by a sheet. So most of the injuries that
Unfortunately,
was
elderly
to the
fall
face area.
a lot.
And when you say his
hit
arm,
their
do you
head,
recall
and
whether
that's
that was
exactly how they
both
get
arms, or
that
was it on his-
injury.
He had markings on his right arm. I didn't notice anything on the other side.
You spent some time privately as a family with your brother. At some point you left, is that correct?
Yes, I would estimate we were probably in the room with him for probably 20 minutes until we left.
And after about that 20 minutes, you come back out to the hallway, and where are you going?
Yeah, we went back to the waiting area, trying to figure out, can we leave? Do we leave? So yes, we left. My mother drove with me. My father drove with Kerry Roberts. We went from the hospital at Good Samaritan in Brockton back to my brother's house in Canton.
And if I could just take you back for a moment. So as you exit the room where your brother is and you come back out in the hallway, what, if anything, occurred at that point?
Again, we saw Karen Reed being restrained by hospital employees, screaming the same things. Is he alive? Is he alive? Is he alive?
Did you, at any points, either before or after, respond to any of that screaming that you heard from the defendant?
I actually blew her a kiss.
Now, as
What?
far as your relationship with the defendant, Ms. Reed,
Whoa,
prior
whoa,
to
whoa, wait a
January
minute.
29th, 2022, how would you characterize it?
Thought we had a good relationship.
He blew her a kiss? Hold on.
Restrained by hospital employees, screaming the same things. Is he alive? Is he alive? Is he alive?
Did you, at any points, either before or after, respond to any of that screaming that you heard from the defendant?
I actually blew her a kiss.
Now, as far as your relationship
Whoa,
with the defendant, Ms. Reed, prior to January 29th,
What the fuck are you blowing a kiss to your now deceased brother's girlfriend? I'm sorry, does that strike any of the rest of you weird as hell? I'm so confused by this. I've never heard this. What? And you can tell by his face, he's literally remembering that. He's seeing that memory right now. He's pissed. Like, I don't know if he's pissed about doing it or pissed about the fact that he just admitted it. But holy moly, look at his face. You can see it. He's like seeing it in his mind. Yeah, see it grow. Like, that makes no sense. Yes, thank you. Why wouldn't he run to her and hug her and share? Yes, thank you. That would be the appropriate response. Because even if you didn't like her, he was a big part of your brother's life and your nephew and niece's children, or, their lives. But to blow her a kiss? So I have to do some research on the psychological, the behind that, because that disgusts me. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Well, yeah, I understand that, Cheryl. You said, well, he didn't think it was her at that point. Seed hadn't been planted. I get that. So, but either way, it doesn't matter. Your brother just passed. His girlfriend, you see, is obviously hysterical from this. You're upset for this, obviously. And you blow her a kiss. Like, to me, that makes no sense. Even if the seed hadn't been planted yet. It didn't matter. Like that action alone, to me, psychologically makes no sense. In my opinion, he did, because look at his face. This is his face right after he said that. He is remembering what he's seeing that whole scene in his head right now. And he's pissed. And now in my opinion, I have no idea whether he's pissed about the fact that he just admitted it or that he did it. I don't know. I don't even have an opinion about that. It could be either. Yeah, it is. It's, yeah. I'm so confused by that action. I'm sorry. I'm going off on this for a really long time, but I've never heard that in all the time and all the clips that I have seen from this trial, and I've never seen that at all. And I truly don't understand that action at all. He's still drunk from the night before. Wow. I didn't even think of that. That makes it even worse, because then if he's still drunk, like Karen probably was, or at least intoxicated, your inhibitions are down. So what does that tell you about his feelings then towards her? And maybe that's why he so adamantly believes she's guilty now, because of his own guilt for maybe feelings he had for her. Because that's where my mind goes when I think of this. Like, ew. Definitely cringe. My brother-in-law, the other one, would have hugged me. Yeah, see, that's what I would think. I would think anybody would go up to and hug the person who just lost their significant other. I wouldn't be thinking about blowing them kisses, especially if they were my brother, or in my case, if they were my, I don't have a sister, but if I had a sister's boy, I wouldn't, if my sister had passed and her boyfriend was walking down the hall, I would have hugged him. I wouldn't be blowing him kisses. Like, that is beyond inappropriate. They portrayed it in one of the okay, yeah, I haven't seen the documentaries because it's on one of the streaming services that I don't have. Oh, he's still drunk on the stand? Holy shit, I didn't know that either. He's drunk right now? Oh my God. Okay. So that tells me why he's literally playing this whole scene in his head right now. If he's drunk right now, like that, holy shit, I didn't know that. See how much I missed by not seeing the first trial? And this is exactly why I felt I needed to watch it. Like, what did I miss from the first trial that's going to play, a role in, my thinking and analysis of this group thinking and believing things that defy common sense, And right now, I'm getting a whole new look at Paul O'Keefe. Like, it's bizarre. Yeah. That's what normal people do. They hug each other and cry because they're thinking about the person who's gone. I mean, blowing someone a kiss is where you're not thinking about that person. Like, that's thinking about something else if you're blowing someone a kiss. He admitted it via text. It's a whole thing. Oh, wow. I'm going to have to look into it, Cheryl. Thank you, guys. I can't believe oh, my God. Someone else, please explain. I'm cooking. You go cook, Cheryl. No problem. That's okay. I'll do a little research and maybe a discussion on my Discord. If you guys haven't joined my Discord, I'm gonna put my email in the chat. Send me an email and I'll send you a link. If you guys ever want to email me anything, feel free.
How would you characterize it?
Thought we had a good relationship. I held her in very high regard. I thought she was a good influence on my niece and nephew. I appreciated all the help that she was providing to my brother.
I gotta
and the
go
kids.
grab myself a Coke. Hold on.
We'd go out together as couples a couple times. She became very friendly with my wife, but I'd say overall we had a good relationship.
As far as those positive feelings that you had in relation to the defendant prior to January 29th, 2022, had you expressed those to either the defendant or any member of her family?
Yes. So Christmas Eve of 2021 was the first time I met her parents. My brother hosted Christmas Eve at his house. I met Mr. and Mrs. Reed. I offered to help Mrs. Reed carry some things in from her car. And as we were walking to the car, I said, I just want to tell you, I think your daughter's great. I think very appreciative of what she's done for the kids and helping my brother.
Now, turning back to that day of January 29th, you go back out to the waiting area, is that correct?
Yes.
And what, if anything, happened? What did you see or speak to when you got out there?
I saw her father, Bill Reed, come into the hospital. He was picking up Karen as we were pretty much exiting the hospital to head back to Canton.
Oh my
did you have
God.
any conversation with him?
That's something else that just hit me, you guys. Okay. Can one of you tell me if you know that whole him blowing her a kiss, was this before? Well, no, it would have to be after she was sectioned, right? Because she was sectioned from the scene and taken to the hospital, if I remember correctly. So not only did your brother just pass, this is your brother's girlfriend you're looking at, who was just sectioned for mental, things from dealing with this, and you're blowing her a kiss. I'm sorry, I can't get over it. What the fuck?
Did not.
Now, you indicated that you drove with your mother back to Meadows Ave where your brother lived, is that correct?
That's correct.
And Ms. Roberts drove with your father back to the same location, is that correct?
That is correct.
And as far as your understanding sort of on the drive back, where...
Oh, see, I didn't, if he testified to that, I didn't hear it. So she was on a girl. Okay. So like I just said, okay, that's why he's picturing this in his head right now. Like I said, you can tell he's seeing it in his mind, this whole thing that morning, what happened. And okay, so I'm picturing her and, standing up and walking down the hallway and, she's always nicely dressed. And I'm not even thinking about the fact that, how early in the morning, or well, I don't even know what time it was at this point when this happened, but she was already sectioned. I don't know if she's seen a doctor at this point, waiting to see a doctor, but either way, I'm assuming that she'd already seen a doctor, because to me, I don't know why she would be out in the hallway if she was sectioned, because I'm telling you, I worked in hospitals, I've worked in mental health units. The minute that you say you have, SI tendencies or thoughts or anything like that, they strip you of your phone, anything that you can hurt yourself with. They guard someone out of, in front, like whether you're in a room or you're never just out in the hallway on a gurney. So there's someone there watching your every move. The minute you express to someone that you're having these thoughts, you have nothing. They take everything from you until you're discharged. Unless for some reason this hospital, works differently in Massachusetts, which wouldn't surprise me either, because everything works differently in Massachusetts. But to me, it just makes no sense, because they take everything. They don't put you out in the hallway with the regular, like the psych. When you walk into the hospital, you, like a regular ER, especially if you're taken in by ambulance, you are immediately taken to a different part, a totally like different ER portion that's specifically for these kind of issues. You're not mixed in with people that came in for like heart issues or, you know, their blood sugar. It's completely separate, a separate like ER portion. So that's crazy to me. So I'm assuming she was already evaluated. And even if she wasn't, let's just say it's weird. Even if she wasn't evaluated yet, she was waiting to be evaluated. He knows why she was waiting to be evaluated or have been evaluated. He knows this. And he's still blowing her. Like, I'm sorry, I keep going back to that, but it is boggling my mind. Okay, so she was interviewed by the EMTs and they believe she was just upset and not literal. Okay, so does anyone know that? I gotta look this up. I'm sorry, I keep asking you guys because now I'm confused. I mean, everything that I've seen said she was sectioned. So if you're sectioned, I know what happens to you. Now, if EMTs evaluated her and didn't section her, but evaluated her to be sectioned, those are two different things. Okay, so the EMTs asked if she would go and she agreed. Okay. I did know that. So I guess my point is once you get to the hospital, and no matter if she agreed or didn't agree, and they took her anyway, if you go to the hospital, because I've worked with patients who literally came to the hospital on their own volition. They came to the hospital because they knew their thoughts were, you know, really messed up and they wanted help. You know, they were worried what might happen if they stayed at home by themselves or whatever with these thoughts. No matter if the doctor or nurses or evaluating team think you're serious or not, whether they're just thoughts or whether you think you might go through it doesn't matter. They immediately take your cell phone, they give you a gown, they take your clothes, they take everything that you can possibly need to leave because they don't want you to leave. They make it impossible for you to escape and leave. She wouldn't have been released immediately to her dad. So yeah. So I'm wondering now, like, I'm going to have to look this up, but not that it really pertains to the rest of, I mean, it doesn't really matter one way or the other, in my opinion, about Paul O'Keefe doing that. Whether she was evaluated, not evaluated by a doctor, or whether it's just the fact that she's on a gurney. They knew that she was taken to the hospital, evaluated or not, for that reason, and he's blowing her a kiss. That is the point, and it's insane. Insane. But I am going to do some research on that because I'm curious to see the extent of her evaluation and what happened, if I can find out. Oh, shit. I just, bypassed this whole testimony. Damn it. Hold on. Sorry, guys.
You and your brother trying to make plans to connect her.
Karen would be at home.
And at any point in time when you were in Aruba, did you see your brother at any point?
I don't remember where I was at now. Damn it.
For 3 or 4 days, I believe.
So after you returned from Aruba, that's with you at both of your daughters' games?
Correct. Them to the hospital in Brockton.
When you say your friend Carrie Roberts, how do you know Carrie Roberts?
Oh, I think
So
this
we
is
grew up
about
in
it.
Braintree. She grew up in Braintree as well.
Angry Steve.
2 years older than me. Knew my brother.
Oh yeah, I did know that
actually,
too.
They went to
I downloaded. I have the
together
Google
1 year.
Drive on my laptop.
And
I've
she
been
also
going through
resides in
some of the
Canada.
evidence that's on the Google
she was
Drive that Corey Hopkins got. It is wild, some of it that wasn't used or released. And I've been wanting to watch some of the videos, but they're long and it's, people already put out what's really necessary out of them. So I don't know if I would gain anything other insight on it. So, but I wanted to do this before I dive into that. But I did listen to Deaver's phone calls. Deaver. I always say it wrong on purpose. I still to this day can't ever remember. I keep trying to tell myself that it rhymes with ever. So, but I don't know if that's the good one or bad one now. So Deber, whatever your name is. Yeah. I did listen to her calls on the Google Drive, and they're interesting. She's got such a flat aspect. It's like she doesn't care. She's like, whatever. This sucks. I hate my job. Like, that's how she sounds on the phone. Damn it, I just did it again. We're at 26 minutes.
And walked down.
As far as your arrival at the Good Samaritan, who arrived first? Was it you, your parents, or something else?
I got there first.
And about
Okay, let's
how
listen
long
to
was
this
it? If you
again,
know,
because I want to hear
you
this
got
whole
there and
part
the
one more
parents arrived
time
there with you?
before we move on.
Probably about 45 minutes.
And when you arrived at the Good Samaritan Medical Center, where within the facility did you sort of go?
Emergency room waiting area, lobby.
And at some point, did you, after your parents arrived, did you move from the waiting room area to somewhere else within the hospital?
So when my parents arrived, they brought us, in the double doors into like a little family sitting room.
Yeah.
And about how long was it that you were in the family sitting room before you went somewhere else?
So we were in that waiting room. Doctor and nurse came in and told us that all their efforts to save my brother were unsuccessful and that he had passed away. And then asked if we wanted to go see him, in which we said yes. So we left that room and walked down the hallway to his hospital room.
And that doctor you spoke to, do you recall what the doctor's name was?
Dr. Rice.
And when you say that we went down to the room where your brother was that everyone in the group?
It was myself and my parents, yes.
And Ms. Roberts, did she go as well? Or did she?
No, she stayed out in the waiting area.
And as you were making your way down to the room where they had your brother, what if anything occurred along the way?
So I noticed Karen Reed was
Watch right here, you guys. If you guys want, and I'm going to preface all of this. I am not an expert, nor have I studied, behavior analysis per se. I've studied psychology for years and years. I went to college for psychology. My degree is in psychology. Most people can tell when someone is reliving something like in their head. Just watch his face when he talks about this.
She was being restrained by hospital employees, and she was, screaming out to us.
Okay, so, oh my God, I missed that part the first time. He literally explains it. She's being restrained. She's being restrained. Listen to that. She's being restrained by hospital personnel.
And walked down the hallway to his hospital room.
And that doctor you spoke to, do you recall what the doctor's name was?
Dr. Rice.
And when you say that we went down to the room where your brother was that everyone in the group?
It was myself and my parents, yes.
And Ms. Roberts, did she go as well? Or did she?
No, she stayed out in the waiting area.
And as you were making your way down to the room where they had your brother, what if anything occurred along the way?
So I noticed Karen Reed was there. She was being restrained by hospital employees, and she was
being restrained by hospital employees. So this is what he sees.
Screaming out to us.
Screaming out to them. Okay.
Asking if he was alive.
Right.
Is that something that?
Because she has no idea, which obviously goes to show you there was no intent. Whether back then you thought she did this or could have done it or didn't do it, whatever. Because I have to go back to that mentality before we have all the proof right now. So even if you hadn't a thought that she might have done this, how do you get to the fact that you think she murdered him when you're literally admitting right there that she's asking you, is he gone? Or is he alive? At this point, she has no idea. So obviously there was no intent. Because if there's intent, she would know that he's already gone. She would know if she had known that she did this and there was intent, she would know that he's gone. Come on.
She screamed out more than once or something.
Several times.
Now, at some point you went into the room where your brother was, correct?
Correct.
And can you describe to the jury sort of what you saw as far as your brother was concerned?
He was pretty banged up. He had his eyes had swelled up. He had a breathing tube in, with a mask anyway. Blood come down his nose, blood come down his mouth. But what really stood out to me was, the eyes. It was almost as if there were ping pong balls under his eyelids. They were that swollen.
Now, in addition to what you observed as far as his eyes, what, if any, other sort of injuries did you observe on any other part of your brother's body?
I noticed some markings on his arm. Didn't look at his lower torso area at all because he was covered by a sheet. So most of the injuries that we observed was to the head area and face area.
And when you say his arm, do you recall whether that was one arm, both arms, or which arm in particular?
He had markings on his right arm. I didn't notice anything on the other side.
And you spent some time privately as a family with your brother. At some point you left, is that correct?
Yes, I would estimate we were probably in the room with him for probably 20 minutes until we left.
And after about that 20
Okay,
minutes, you come back up the
so-
hallway.
20 minutes ago, he sees Karen being restrained. He goes in, sees his brother deceased and all banged up all to hell. And now this.
And where are you going?
Yeah, we went back to the waiting area, trying to figure out, can we leave? Do we leave? So yes, we left. My mother drove with me. My father drove with Carrie Roberts. We went from the hospital at Good Samaritan in Brockton back to my brother's house in Canton.
Did I rewind it to the wrong part?
And if I could just take you back for a moment. So as you exit the room where your brother is and you come back
Oh,
up the
here we
hallway,
go.
what, if anything, occurred at that point?
Again, we saw Karen Reed being restrained by hospital employees, screaming the same things. Is he alive? Is he alive? Is he alive?
Did you, at any point, either before or after, respond to any of that screaming that you heard from the defendant?
I actually blew her a kiss.
See right there. Look at it. Look at his face. He's pissed. He's clenching those lips together and he's seeing it in his mind. Like he's
Now,
like
as far as your relationship with
gross.
the defendant, Ms. Reed, prior to January 29th, 2022, how would you characterize it?
I thought we had a good relationship. I held her in very high regard. I thought she was a good influence on my niece and nephew. I appreciated all the help that she was providing to my brother with the kids. We'd go out together as couples a couple times. She became very friendly with my wife, but I'd say overall we had a good relationship.
As far as those positive feelings that you had in relation to the defendant prior to January 29th, 2022, had you expressed those to either the defendant or any member of her family?
Yes. So Christmas Eve of 2021 was the first time I met her parents. My brother hosted Christmas Eve at his house. I met Mr. and Mrs. Reed. I offered to help Mrs. Reed carry some things in from her car. And as we were walking to the car, I said, I just want to tell you, I think your daughter's great. I think very appreciative of what she's done for the kids and helping my brother.
Now, turning back to that day of January 29th, you go back out to the waiting area, is that correct?
Yes.
And if anything happened before then, what did you see or speak to when you got out there?
I saw her father, Bill Reed, come into the hospital. He was picking up Karen as we were pretty much exiting the hospital to head back to Canton.
And did you have any conversation with him?
I did not.
Now, you indicated that you drove with your mother back to Meadows Ave where your brother lived, is that correct?
That's correct.
And Ms. Roberts drove with your father back to the same location, is that correct?
That is correct.
And as far as your understanding sort of on the drive back, where were the kids? Where was Kaylee and Patrick back?
So Kaylee was picked up by Mike Camerano, who's Kaylee's best friend's father. Patrick was at a sleepover the night before, so he was still with the family at the house where he slept the night before.
And you mentioned that the drive from your house from West Bridgewater to Brockton was somewhat difficult, correct?
Very difficult.
How would you characterize the drive from Brockton to your brother's house in Canton?
I mean, at one point I said to my mother, I don't know if we're going to make it back. Visibility was terrible. Couldn't see the roads. We made it back. It was just a very, very difficult. Probably the worst driving conditions I've driven in as far as weather.
And so then, at some point, you and your vehicle, Ms. Roberts and hers, and your parents, you arrived at your brother's house in Canton, correct?
That's correct.
You know about what time of day that was?
It was mid-morning, so maybe between 10 and 11 o'clock in the morning.
And was there anybody present at the house?
Hey, you guys, just so you know, I finally am able to add moderators and I kept forgetting to do that. So you guys that I know very well from the chat rats and that, I added you guys as mods for my channel. So if you guys don't mind it, that's great. I appreciate you. If you do, let me know and I'll take you off. Thank you.
You arrived there?
No.
And at some point, did other people come over, as far as specifically I'm asking about the children?
Yes, so Kaylee was dropped off shortly after we arrived. And then a little while after that, Patrick was dropped off from a sleepover.
And at some point, you were tasked with informing the children what happened to your brother, correct?
By the way, happy Annie 1315. I don't think I've seen you in the other chat, so I totally missed that. That was from someone new. So if you're still here, I appreciate you being here. I don't know if you're under a different handle on someone else's channel that I know of. Either way, I'm happy you guys are all here. Appreciate you.
At some point after you left the hospital in
I
Boston,
still can't get over that he's drunk right now.
what, if any, conversation, what, if any, phone calls did you receive in relation to the defendant, Ms. Reed?
Karen Reed called me, asked me if it was okay to come over to see the kids, and I said sure.
And do you know how long that phone call went on for?
It was a quick phone call, maybe a minute. Like I said, she just asked if she could come over, and I said sure. And then she arrived at the house, shortly thereafter.
When you initially arrived at the house, along with the parents and Ms. Roberts, her vehicle, what many other vehicles did you observe sort of in the driveway at that time?
I only noticed, I think, my brother's car. I don't
Hey,
recall
Terry.
seeing any other cars. There could have been a car in the garage, but I didn't notice really. Nothing stands out.
What kind of car did your brother have?
Chevy Traverse,
What color was that, if you know?
like gray.
And if you recall, when you first sort of arrived there, where was that vehicle parked in relation to your brother?
I believe it was the right side of the driveway.
I gotta have my peeps
all the way down
mod
to the
in
end
my
of the
channel
top of the
for
driveway.
me. You guys are awesome. Thank you.
Now, you had the phone call with the defendant. You indicated it's fine for her to come over. You know about how long it was after receiving that phone call and when Ms. Reed arrived there?
20 to 30 minutes, maybe.
And when she arrived at your brother's house, who, if anyone, was she with?
She was with her father.
And at some point, was there anyone else from her family that came over to the house that morning?
Her brother and his wife showed up shortly after she arrived with her father, yes.
And how many cars, if you know, come in between sort of the...
They each took separate vehicles, so 2 cars arrived.
And Ms. Reed's vehicle, you know where that vehicle was in relation to your brother's house at that time?
It was either in the driveway or in the garage. I'm not positive.
Okay, so fair to say it was at the house, correct?
It was at the house, yes.
So between the Reed family, there's 3 vehicles at your brother's house, correct?
Correct.
He's a
Now-
microphone breather. Oh my God, it's so annoying.
Defendant mentioned that you had met her father before on Christmas Eve, is that right?
Correct.
Had you met her brother or brother's wife prior to that day?
No.
And you were in the house when they arrived, is that correct?
When Karen and her father arrived, I was shoveling the walkway out front.
And in total, about how much time was the defendant at the house that morning when she came?
I could probably say about 30 minutes.
And at that point, when the defendant arrived, was either Kaylee or Patrick or both home at that time?
Yes. Kaylee had come home first, and then Patrick had come home. So I think
Thank
Patrick may
you,
have come home while they were there.
lad. I appreciate you.
And you mentioned when they arrived, you were out shoveling sort of the front walk, correct?
Yes.
And when they arrived, did you go in the house with them, or did you continue shoveling or something else?
I continued shoveling for a very short period of time, and went in the house like pretty much right after they did.
And when you got in the house, what was it sort of that you were doing at that time?
I mean, we had just told Kaylee what had happened, and we were waiting for Patrick to get home, so we were kind of just congregated in the kitchen.
When you say we, who exactly are you talking
Sorry, myself, my mother, my father.
about? Was Ms. Roberts still there, or is she gone home?
I don't recall.
And so, in addition to yourself, your mother,
I
your
know
father,
we'll get into
Ms. Reed,
this
her
later,
father,
but if
any other
someone
sort of
can
members of
help
her
me
family?
out so I can benefit a little bit going when she gets on the stand, correct me if I'm wrong. Carrie Roberts was John's friend, and then hence by proxy, Karen's friend first. And then only now, after, her, Karen being charged and going through these trials, is Carrie Roberts friends with Jen McCabe, correct? So her car was at John's in full view without, yeah, exactly. Oh yeah. I went through this the other day when I went through one of the videos on the Google Drive of her and from the cop car. You can literally see not only from the camera view on John's house, you can see straight on the back of Karen's SUV from the cop car video that the snow that has accumulated on the surface, there is no, it could only be cracked. It can't be smashed at that point because there wouldn't be surface for the snow to accumulate on. There would be a hole, but there isn't a hole. You can see plain as day that snow has flatly accumulated across the entire taillight. They trauma bonded. Okay. I thought so. Because that's a whole nother thing I want to. Trauma bond is very intriguing. And I wanted to to touch base on that in a short video, and I didn't want to do that without confirming some facts. And because I truly, that's what I thought, and that's exactly where I was going with it. Sarah, was that they were trauma bonding? Yeah. Thank you.
Where were they within the house?
So mainly the kitchen at first. When Patrick came home, we kind of took him to like the side room where the kids hang out. Talked to him in that room, and then we were in the kitchen. Then Miss Reed and her father went upstairs.
And when you sat down with Patrick to tell him what had happened to your brother, who, if anyone else, was with you at that point?
Karen Reed.
And at some point subsequent to that, you went back to the kitchen, correct?
Yes.
And where was it that the defendant and her father went?
Upstairs, into the bedroom.
And if you know, about how long were they in the upstairs area of the house?
I would say 10 to 15 minutes.
And them as they came down the stairs?
Yeah, so I was on the phone a few times. So I didn't watch them walk upstairs, but I saw them come downstairs, turn the corner at the bottom of the stairs. She had some of her belongings that she had taken from the bedroom.
And where did she go with those belongings?
They left. Like I said, they were probably there for 30 minutes. They got in their cars and drove back to Dayton, Massachusetts.
No, you
And
said
when you say
20.
go back in their cars, you
30.
mentioned 3 cars that had been there in the driveway or in the area of the house, correct?
Correct.
When the defendant left, how many of those cars were made?
0.
And as far as the weather conditions that you had mentioned that existed at the time that you drove from the hospital in Brockton to your brother's home in Canton, if any improvement occurred with the weather during that time frame?
None.
So essentially the same, is that fair to say?
Yeah, it was still, the conditions were still poor.
Now, with respect to Miss Reed's vehicle, did you know what kind of vehicle Miss Reed had?
A Lexus SUV. I don't know the actual model.
You testifying for the luncheon recess before, you had indicated that Miss Reed.
Auntie Bob's getting antsy in the background.
You
You can see it.
Correct.
And who, if anyone, had you gone upstairs with?
Her father.
About how long were they upstairs for?
10, 15 minutes.
And as far as, was there anyone else in the upstairs area of the home with them at the time that they were upstairs?
No, nothing I'm aware of.
Now, as far as Miss Reed was concerned, what, if any, conversation did you have with her while she was at the house for that period of 30 minutes or so?
None really.
And as far as any other members of her family, without any reference to what it was, what, if any, sort of substantial conversation, what, if any, conversation did you have with either her father, her brother, or the brother's wife?
Again, none, not really. I didn't really have much interaction with any of them while they're at the house.
Now, you're obviously familiar with your brother's house on Meadows Ave, is that correct?
Yes.
And as far as the house itself, what, if any, sort of security did your brother have installed on that house on Meadows Ave?
He's gonna, excuse me, a ring doorbell, and then a ring camera floodlight combination above the garage doors overlooking the driveway.
And when you say the doorbell, how many sort of points of, how many doors or entrances into the house were there?
With cameras, I would say 2. I mean, the driveway and then the main front door of the house.
May I approach the witness?
Yes.
Maybe just 3 photographs, 2, 3, and 4. If you could just look at those briefly and look up when you finish. And generally speaking, sir, do you recognize what's depicted in those 3 photographs?
Yes. The first.
Before we get to them, just in general,
yes.
do you recognize those? Okay. And what do you recognize this them in general terms? What do you recognize them to be photographs of?
That's my brother's house at 1 Meadows Ave in Canton.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could have Exhibit 2 up on the screen. So I'm going to show you that question in your arms. I'm going to hand you here as a laser point. Basically, just click this button here.
Okay.
And again, sir, what's up on the screen is Exhibit number 2. What are we looking at here?
That's my brother's house at 1 Meadows Ave in Canton.
And as far as the Ring doorbell camera that you were referring to, is that something that's visible in this photograph?
Not in that photograph, no.
And so typically when you would come over
I was
to your
just
brother's
trying to
house, what
remember
would be sort of the general points or door that you
about
would use to
that.
get
So either the garage door or there's a side.
Because the statements, when I was reading the statements on the Google Drive about when they were told and this and that, I got confused by some of this testimony that I remember seeing from clips versus what's written in the statements about who told who what when. Like, I'm still confused now. Actually, more confused now.
Side door right behind that bush.
So behind that bush, is there any sort of like walkway or anything like that over there?
Yeah, so there's a walkway that leads up to a couple of steps and then to the entryway.
Is that where the Ring doorbell would have been located, labeled as sort of the front door?
Yes.
And garage area with driveway that you were referencing in relation to this photograph is not depicted in this photograph, is that fair to say?
Correct.
So which sort of, with relation to this photograph, understanding that it's not depicted in it, where would that?
The driveway would be to the right side of the house as we're viewing it from here.
And if I could turn your attention to the next exhibit, number 3, Ms. Gilman, if I could have that. And what's up on the screen, is that what you have before you as exhibit number 3?
Correct.
And whereabouts in relation to the house, what are we looking at here?
So that would be the driveway, right side of the house, 2 garage doors, the upstairs window, and the Ring camera / floodlight combination.
Now, with respect to the garage, was there a particular way that your brother would have kept sort of the garage area?
Yeah, he had on the left side, he had a 1971 Ford LTD parked over that side, and he would typically park his car on the right side.
But the car that you were talking about before, that being the Chevy Traverse, is that correct?
Correct.
And so the floodlight combination with the camera, that you see that in this photograph, is that correct?
Yes,
If you could, just using the laser pointer, direct the jury's attention to that.
right under the window.
And as far as these particular Ring cameras, driveway, garage one, and the front door, the sort of side entryway there, who, if anyone, as far as you knew, had access to those particular cameras? How would they be accessed?
Most likely through the Ring app on your cell phone. And I believe the only ones who had access to was my brother and Karen Reed.
And as far as your brother,
All right, I'll strike that, see if you can lay a foundation.
as far as your brother was, what if anything would he do with reference to those Ring cameras and his app on his phone when people would arrive at his house?
I mean, a few times he talked to me through the speaker. You know, if I pulled up to the house and he wasn't home, he would speak to me on it, but I'm not sure if I follow the entire question.
No, and that's exactly, so there were points where you would come to the house, correct, and he wasn't there,
Yes,
and he would sort of talk to you through the Ring application. Is that
Yeah.
fair to say?
yes.
Now, as far as Ms. Reed was, when you say you believe she had access to it, what leads you to believe?
I believe the kids had mentioned it before. Kaylee and Patrick, mostly Patrick.
All right, I'm going to strike that.
Now, if I could direct your attention to the next exhibit before you, exhibit number 4. And again, sir, what's up on screen? Is that what you have before you as exhibit 4?
Correct.
And if you could describe to the jury sort of what part of the house we're looking at here and what, if anything, in relation to the Ring that you observed here.
That is also the driveway from a different view. Call it the top of the driveway looking down onto the street. Right in this picture here, the Ring camera or the floodlight ring is not visible.
And the walkway that you were talking about that was behind the bush, do you see that in this photograph?
Yes,
Okay, if you could direct the jury's attention where that is. So if you follow that walkway sort of around to the bush, where does that lead?
right to the like breezeway door.
If I may approach.
Yes.
Now, Mr. O'Keefe, the Ring camera that we're talking about, have you seen those on like a disc form? Is that correct?
Have I seen them on a disc form? I'm not sure if I follow that question.
Sure. Have you viewed any Ring camera footage from either the front door or the driveway to your brother's house?
No, I didn't have access.
Now, Mr. O'Keefe, what's up on the screen there? Do you generally recognize what's depicted there?
It looks like Karen Reed's vehicle, my brother's vehicle, and it looks like another SUV behind it. I don't know the two people.
If you could, just using the laser pointer before, if you could just direct the jury's attention to which vehicle you're talking about when you. So starting with Ms. Reed's vehicle, where is it in this video that you observed?
I believe it's that one right there.
And your brother's vehicle?
Is back there.
And the vehicle you're referring to as your vehicle, where's it? And if you know, when about is this video depicting in relation to what you've described as the events of January 29th?
I mean, that would be in the morning coming back from the hospital, mid-morning.
And as far as the people within this video, do you recognize any of the people within?
That'd be myself. I believe that behind me could be Carrie Roberts, because I believe that's Carrie Roberts' car. She drove my father back from the hospital to One Meadows.
And Ms. Gilman, if you could just run the video.
Oh, that's my mother.
Ms. Gilman, from the same exhibit, if I could have Bill Mark 165. Again, Ms. Gilman, if you could just pause that briefly. Now, with respect to this video, do you recognize the vehicle that just pulled into the driveway here?
That looks like Karen Reed in the photo, on the video. I assume that's her father's car.
So this would have been the time that Ms. Reed, the defendant, arrived with her family from the hospital as well?
Correct.
And Ms. Gilman, if you could just run that through. If I could ask for the next labeled video from Exhibit 6, number 166.
What is his purpose of going through these videos with Paul O'Keefe? I don't understand. Is this just to get him admitted?
Gentlemen, if I could ask you to pause there. Now, Mr. O'Keefe, with the last video, the two individuals sort of walking over to the house, you recognize who those were?
It appeared to be Karen Reed and her father.
And the individual who just got out of the same vehicle, do you recognize that?
That appears to be Karen Reed's brother, Nathan.
Again, this particular day, January 29th, at your brother's house, that's the first time that you met him, is that correct?
Correct.
Ms. Gilman, if you could just play this one. Thank you. Ms. Gilman, from the same exhibit number 6, if I could have video 169.
I don't understand the purpose.
Just there for a moment, please. Now, as far as
Right now,
you
anyway.
mentioned earlier in your testimony that after Ms. Reed arrived at the house, that your nephew Patrick
Okay,
as well.
so I'm not the only one
And then you see
wondering
that
why
Patrick
he's
in the
going
video
through
on
these.
screen now.
Thank you,
Yes.
Sarah. Like,
This would depict when he got
it
dropped
makes no sense. Like, what? Unless he's just trying to get them admitted for some, I just don't know why he's going over this many clips with Paul O'Keefe. Whatever. Maybe it's in his. Yeah, I've only watched some of the sidebars for the reason that I haven't watched the entire trial. So that's why I want to do this first. The funny thing is that what I wanted to do when I streamed this trial was put in the sidebars when like where they really go, since the trial channel takes them out. I wanted to put them in, as they're read and stuff, but it proved to be a little too difficult, especially the sidebars being done like different ways and stuff. I appreciate watching them funny with Emily C. And Corey Hopkins, but I figured that's not. I'm not going to do that. We're just going to stick to the trial. If something is really important, you guys want me to pull the sidebar in, please let me know. You'll find 80% of the testimony is completely irrelevant. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. But these clips, they just serve no purpose.
Ms. Gilman, from the same exhibit 6, if I could have number 176. Pause that right there, please. Now, from this video, you referenced earlier in your testimony, Ms. Reed gathered some belongings and then had left with all of the vehicles that her family came with, correct?
Correct.
And do you recognize anyone depicted in this video, number 176?
That's Karen Reed.
And what, if anything, do you observe in this video her to have in her hand at this time?
Looks like some type of a bag.
And Ms. Gilman, if you could just play this one, please. Now, Ms. Gilman, if I could have from the same exhibit 6,
You're cracking me up.
178.
I'm sure they did forget most of it. I'm sure they already forgot his opening statement, and it's
Now, Mr.
only
O'Keefe,
what,
you were
an
at
hour or
Brother's
so
house, and I was
later
out
now.
for the majority of
I mean,
that
his
day, correct?
opening
Yes.
statement
How long
was
were you there
just a
in
bunch of people's names they don't
And, At
know.
some point, were attempts
It was
made
so
in and around your brother's house,
confusing.
driveway, walkway, things of that nature, as far as snow removal was concerned?
At one point, other than me shoveling, Patrick's friend's father came with a snowblower.
And so initially, it was you shoveling. What, if anything, was your father doing while you were shoveling as well?
It was just me shoveling.
And do you recognize what's depicted up in this video as far as any individuals in this video?
I believe that is me standing there with a shovel.
And Ms. Gilman, if you could just play this. Ms. Gilman, from that same Exhibit 6, could I have video number 185? Ms. Gilman, if you could just pause it right there. Now, in reference to the snowblower coming out, or sort of the friend of Patrick, father of Patrick's friends, do you recognize anybody in this video here?
I'm assuming that's the father of Patrick's friend, but I'm not sure.
So fair to say this was later in the day after you were out there shoveling and after the defendant had left the house, is that correct?
Yes.
And with regard to that particular day of January 29th, do you recall any law enforcement, whether they be PD or state police, coming to the house while you were there that day?
But not on the 29th, no.
During the course of clearing the driveway out as far as snow or ice, what, if anything, did you observe as far as beyond just sort of snow and ice? Were there any sort of other items within the driveway that you recall seeing, or?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
And Ms. Gilman, if you could just play this video. Thank you. And lastly, from this exhibit, Ms. Gilman, if you could, from Exhibit 6, pull up video number 239. Mr. O'Keefe, what's up on the screen right now is that essentially what the driveway looked like at the end of sort of the snow blowing and the shoveling and snow removal that day.
Yes.
And that vehicle towards the top, that's your vehicle, is that correct?
Yes.
And is this around the time that you would have been leaving your brother's house on January 29th?
Yes.
Ms. Courthouse, we can have the lights back. May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes.
Recognize that?
Yes.
Ms. Gilman, if I could have exhibit 1 on. Thank you very much. And what's up on the screen, Mr. O'Keefe? Is that what you have before you, exhibit number 1?
Yes.
And what are we looking at in this exhibit?
That's my brother.
And as far as your earlier testimony in regard to the vehicle that he kept sort of on the left side of the garage, what, if anything, do you recognize?
It's depicted in the picture. It's a convertible 1971 Ford LTD.
And with reference to that vehicle, how did your brother feel about that vehicle?
He enjoyed it. He thought it was fun driving around, in a convertible. Nephew Patrick enjoyed, being driven to baseball games and whatnot. And it's
And your niece, Kaylee, how did she feel about
she did not like it. Still doesn't.
it? Thank you.
Oh,
May I approach this
Auntie
witness?
Beth thought that was funny, huh? I can't believe she just laughed out loud like that.
Mr. O'Keefe, sir, I have no questions for you.
All right, Mr. O'Keefe, you are all set, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, hold on, guys. All right, I just saw your comment, Sarah. Probably trying to trick the jury
turn
into
around, Mr.
thinking
Lally.
that's how much snow was there was
Good afternoon,
for snow was there when the incident happened. Yeah. Because there was no other reason to show that besides unless I was thinking because prior to showing the videos, he was talking about
This is one of the two options.
he was talking about shit. Now I lost my train of thought because Lally interrupted me when I was trying to go back to the regular page here. The time, that's what it was. He was talking about how much time Karen spent at the house and what Paul O'Keefe observed with her being there and then leaving or whatever. So if he showed a video to prove how long she was there, I could kind of understand that, but he just showed a bunch of clips that was like, what is the point of all this? It made no sense. Here we go. I'm sorry. My computer. I cannot wait to get a new computer unless I can get back signed into my stupid desktop that locked me out.
As Ron was telling you, this is one of the two opportunities.
All right, so Aaron O'Keefe is next.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Could you please state your name and spell your last name for the record?
Sure, it's Erin O'Keefe, Okeefe,
And where is it that you live now?
West Bridgewater.
And who, if anyone, do you live there with?
Come on. There we go.
I live with my husband, Paul, and our 2 girls.
And how long have you lived there in West Bridgewater?
Be 10 years this year.
And your girls, how old are your girls?
Now 13 and 10.
And what is your husband's name?
Paul,
And how long have you and Paul been together? How long have you been married?
will be 24 years this year and 17 years married this year.
And do you work, ma'am?
I do.
And what do you do for?
Currently, I switched jobs. Currently, I work for a mechanical contractor.
And just sort of in general terms, what type of work is it that you do?
I'm their marketing director.
And you said you switched jobs. So how long have you been doing this sort of new job?
I'll be there 2 years in October.
And your husband, Paul, how did the two of you meet?
I was his waitress in a bar when he was in college.
And as far as your husband Paul is concerned, his parents, what are their names?
John and Margaret,
And your husband Paul, did he have any siblings?
2. An older sister and an older brother.
Why is
John
he
and Kristen.
going through this again?
And of the
I
three,
don't
John, Kristen, and
understand.
Paul, who's the oldest, who was the youngest, and what was sort of the age difference between the three?
Kristen was the oldest. Johnny was next, and Paul being the youngest. And Paul's what, 3 years younger than Johnny? 4.
And your sister-in-law, Kristen, she was the oldest, correct?
Mhm.
Was she married at some point?
Yes, her husband Steve.
And do you recall about when it was that your sister-in-law Kristen and Steve?
Oh, Terry,
We got married in 2006.
hold on.
And your sister.
How did it lock me out? Okay, so when I moved last year, I had my computer, my desktop is an all-in-one HP from like 2021, I would say, or 2020 even. And it had been sitting at the last place I was at for about 6 months, not used, not plugged in or anything. And then I moved. I had it here for another several months. So it was almost a year before it was even plugged back in. So when I put it in and started it up, it asked me for my, my coded password, which was numbers, and it kept saying it was incorrect. And I knew it wasn't incorrect, but so I tried to go through, the Google thing and or whatever it was, or Gmail, whatever email account I used to sign up for the computer. I do not have the installation disk because I bought it used from my old roommate a couple years ago for $100. It was barely ever used. It was basically brand new for $100. I couldn't pass it up. So, but I did not have an installation disk. So now, because I locked myself out by trying this code that I know was right, I don't really use any other digit codes because there's only 2 things I use 6-digit codes for. So, but even going through my email and trying to re-sign in the computer, now it's asking for the installation disk. And I have no idea what to do. Like, I don't know if it's ever going to be usable again. So if you have any ideas, please let me know. Otherwise, I guess it was good for $100. I still used it for a good year and a half before packing it up and then not using it. Okay, let me look around. Let me see. Okay, let me look around. There is software I have to unlock Windows computers. I'll see if I can find it online. Oh, thank you, Terry. I would truly appreciate it because, like I said, I didn't use my desktop a lot, even when I was using it. So, I mean, it's literally brand new. It has, it's a nice computer. It looks brand new. Yeah, it's still 5 years old or 6 years old, but it doesn't have crap on it. It's got good memory, and it was nice and fast for the internet, and it takes up very little space. And it's a 24 or 27 inch monitor, so it's really nice being an all-in-one and the size of the monitor and everything. I'd really appreciate it. Let me know on Discord. You're awesome. Because I'm like, other than this, I wanted to attach. That's why it's so hard for me to go screen to screen on this stinking tiny laptop. I have another monitor, which is actually my TV that I use with my Roku player. But I was going to use it as a second monitor with my laptop. But my laptop doesn't have enough USB ports in it. And I don't have a USB cord. So I was going to order the cord. And then I realized that my laptop doesn't have enough USB ports. So then I looked up how to get a USB extender, and that costs more money. So I'm like, instead of wasting money on all these attachments to this tiny ass laptop, I was just going to try and wait and save up enough to get a new computer. But if I can get that desktop working, it would be even better. Oh, you're welcome, Maylin. Thank you guys. My daughter got a new computer for Xmas, and I can't wipe the one she has without a disk. I don't know what to do. Yeah, see, I know how to wipe a computer without the disk. That I can help you with if you need help. But once you're locked out, man, you're screwed if you don't have a disk. Like, I don't know why they make it that way. But I mean, I kind of know, because if you steal someone's computer, but if you have to wipe it, like I didn't care to wipe it. I don't care. I wouldn't mind it being wiped because there wasn't much on it I cared about. So, but I can't even do that without the disk and without being able to sign in. So, oh, such an ordeal. That's why it's like, until I get monetized, I was talking about this the other day, it takes a lot. I mean, I knew it would take a while. I don't expect YouTube to let people get monetized, really quick and just start making money for no reason. I get all that, but like just to be able to get like super chats to interact with your chat and stuff, like I was actually surprised by how much it takes just to get that. Like I'm not even worried about getting monetized for the ads and stuff like that. Like that doesn't even concern me. If this channel takes off and I'd like to interact with my audience a little more. And if they want to help, donate to get more stuff out or whatever, I figured super chats are fun. I like, sending people super chats when I have extra money, and it's just fun way to interact and send people that you support some money. And, I just was surprised. It takes a lot. So that's why I did make a QR code for my PayPal. So that works. And I have Chime. Oh, that's a whole nother story. I tried to open a Cash App. That's a whole nother story. I talked about it in the first video I did with my with Angie. That's a whole ordeal. What version of Windows are you talking to me, Terry? Because I honestly have no clue, to be honest with you, now that the computer sat for so long. I think it's a computer from 2020. So whatever that would have been, whatever Windows version was out about then. But I don't really care. I don't know if you have to have the exact version. I'm assuming you would, I guess. See, I'm not good with the hardware and all that stuff. Like programs and software, once you're on a computer, I can work with pretty well. But the hardware and programming the actual computer itself, I know nothing about. All right, let's go back to Aaron for a bit. Thank you, Terry, though. I will look for that. I so appreciate it. And you guys, my email is up in the chat. If anyone ever needs my email, send me an email, or I think most of you are in my Discord too. So just send me a message if you ever need to. Windows 10. I think that sounds about right. That sounds right.
Sister-in-law Kristen and her husband Steve, did they have any children?
They did, Kaylee and Patrick.
And Kaylee and Patrick, about how old are they now?
Kaylee is 16 now, and Patrick is 13 now.
At some point, their last name was Furbush, is that correct?
Correct.
And at some point, did your sister-in-law Kristen, her husband Stephen, and their children move to the town of Canton?
They did.
And about what time or what year was that?
2009, 2010, I believe.
And if you know, where had they been living previously before they moved to Canton?
They were renting out their townhouse in Abington, so they were living in Dorchester with Johnny.
And if you know, at the time that they were living with Johnny, were both Patrick and Kaylee born yet? Or
just Kaylee.
Just Kaylee. So fair to say she was relatively young at that point?
Yes.
Now, at some point, your sister-in-law Kristen got sick, correct?
Correct.
And do you recall when about that was that you learned of that?
It was June 2013, beginning of June.
And do you recall what she was sick from or what the diagnosis was?
She was diagnosed with glioblastoma.
And at some point subsequent to that, she passed. Is that correct?
Correct. 6 months later,
Sometime in fall, November of 2013.
November 11th, 2013.
Now, at that point in November of 2013, as far as you and the rest of your family was concerned, what was sort of the plan or the expectation as far as what was going to happen with the children, Patrick and Kayla?
I know that my in-laws were helping while Steve was still here. Steve passed away 2 months later, but my in-laws were helping Steve kind of get acclimated.
And what, if any, role did your brother-in-law, you called him Johnny, is that correct?
Yes.
So what, if any, role did your brother-in-law Johnny have with respect to the kids during this time?
He was very involved because he was very involved when my sister-in-law was sick. I think he was out on, he'd hurt his hand or something when he was working out on the, when he was out on the streets, I guess. And so he was on disability and was helping and going to the hospital all the time and being with Kristen.
And you mentioned he was out on disability and that he was working. What was it that your brother-in-law, Johnny O'Keefe, what did he do for work?
He was a police officer in Boston.
Now, you mentioned that shortly after your sister-in-law Kristen passed away, her husband Stephen also passed away, is that correct?
Correct.
And so what, if anything, sort of became the plan, or what happened with respect to your niece and nephew following their father's death?
Paul and Johnny went out to lunch one day, and we had kind of assumed because Johnny was out on the streets doing his job like that Paul and I would take the kids, and Johnny said he was going to do it.
So he sort of volunteered or stepped up to do it, correct?
Correct.
And pursuant to that, where did Johnny go to live? Where did the kids live when he did that?
Johnny moved into their house in Canton, the original house that Steve and Kristen had bought. He moved in with the kids there.
And about how long was it that Johnny lived there with the kids before he assumed that role?
Maybe 4 years, 4 or 5 years. I don't remember the exact year that he bought the new house.
And so they lived there for 4 or 5 years, and then you mentioned that he bought a new house. Where was the new house that he bought?
The new house is the house now on Meadows Ave in Canton.
And so from whenever time Johnny bought that house, he lived there basically with kids, Kayla and Patrick, until he passed away as well, correct?
Correct.
With respect to your niece and nephew, what, if any, sort of legal relationship did
Oh my God, I'm
Johnny have
already
with
sick
respect
of
to
the
the
what
kids?
if any, what
He
if
became their
any,
guardian.
what if
During the
anything.
time that, from the time that
God.
your brother-in-law Johnny sort of took over that guardianship with respect to your niece and nephew, as far as dating was concerned, what, if any, sort of long-term relationships did you have during that period? And before you answer that, if I could just ask you for your definition as far as what do you deem or term as far as a long-term relationship?
1, 2 years, I guess, as a start. 2 years.
So during that time, after he assumed sort of guardianship of the kids, how many of those relationships, 1 to 2 years or so, did Johnny have during that time?
2.
And what were the names of the people that he had those relationships with?
The first was Amy, and then Karen.
Why is he?
And just to be
I
clear, by
just
Amy,
don't
that
get
was,
why he's going
where
through
she
all of
lives,
this. With this.
She resides
He
in
just
Westwood.
went through all this with
and she had children of her own, is that correct?
Yes.
And the second that you
the
mentioned was
deceased brother. Now
Correct.
this
What's
is
Karen's last name?
his wife, and he's asking all the same
Clarity purposes, do you
questions.
see
I don't,
the person that you knew Karen Reed, correct?
I don't
Yes.
get it.
So it's for clarity purposes for the record, do you see Karen Reed in the courtroom?
I do.
Could you just identify as to where she's seated or an article of clothing she's wearing?
Black or blue blazer.
You know, just ask the record reflect the identification of the defendant by the way.
Yes.
Now, with regard to Ms. Reed, as far as her relationship with regard to your niece and nephew, what, if any, sort of legal relationship did she have with regard to either your niece or nephew or to your brother-in-law, Johnny O'Keefe?
Legal, none.
Now, as far as over the course of, well, when was the first time that you recall meeting the defendant, Ms. Reed?
I believe it was in June of 2020 during COVID.
Based on sort of your understanding, when was that in relation to when they began sort of their relationship?
I think it was in February or March of that same year.
So right around the time that the pandemic caused a sort of general shutdown, correct?
I think so, yes.
Now, as far as you were aware, did you know of any sort of pre-existing relationship or any time that they had dated in the past prior to that February, March of 2020?
I learned that after the fact.
So fair to say during any sort of previous time that they may or may not have dated, you hadn't met Ms. Reed, you weren't aware of her at all?
Correct. I had not met her.
Did you recall sort of where you were, what the circumstances were the first time that you met the defendant?
I believe we were all coming to our house. It was either, it may have been a birthday party or Father's Day, but we were out on the patio. I think it was June.
So John O'Keefe, Ms. Reed, as well as the children came over to your house for some kind of holiday or something.
Correct.
Now, from that time sort of going forward, how would you describe sort of your relationship with the defendant?
I liked her a lot.
And as far as prior to January 29th of 2022, would you consider yourself or characterize your relationship as friends?
I would.
And about how often, sort of from that time of when you first met her in June of 2020 through January, the end of January 2022, how often would you see sort of your niece, your nephew, Mr. O'Keefe, and or Ms. Reed?
1, 2 times a month. It was COVID, so when we could be outside or all get together, or if there was a birthday.
And were there any occasions where you would have occasion to spend time with or hang out with the defendant outside of either your husband or your brother-in-law, Johnny O'Keefe?
Yes, and we talked quite often.
And just in regard to sort of in person, about how many times was that?
Without them, I don't recall.
Now, as far as your understanding of sort of the living arrangement around it, how often, what was your understanding as far as the relationship and sort of where everybody lived or where everybody stayed, or how often things like that?
I believe that Karen was there most times. I do know that she liked to go home on Mondays just to kind of have a fresh time by herself. And Thursday, she was teaching an online class, so she would be home on Thursdays as well. But for the majority of the time, I believe she was over there.
Now, just to be clear, when you say over there, you mean the house on Meadows?
Correct.
And when you say she was home, where else did she have a home during that time?
In Mansfield.
And had you had occasion to be over her house in Mansfield at any point in time that you were friends?
I had gone over once, yes.
Now, with respect to their relationship, what, if anything, were you aware of as far as fights, arguments, issues, anything like that?
I think normal relationship, you know, the stuff everyone goes through.
If I could ask you just if you could expound upon that a little as far as when you say normal relationship stuff, what exactly do you mean?
I know that, you know, my in-laws being there often could be stressful. And, you know, two people with kids in life, normal everyday relationship.
Now, during this time frame, you were living in West Bridgewater still, is that correct?
Correct.
And where were you, like what town were you working at that point?
At that time, I was working in Brighton.
So fair to say, relatively long commute between Brighton and West Bridgewater on a daily basis?
Correct.
And so during that sort of long commute, what, if anything, would you do with reference to the defendant, or who, if anyone, would you typically talk to on those long commutes?
I would text her or call her and say, I'm hey and driving, or she would call me and we would just shoot the breeze and just talk.
Was that something, how often would you do that?
Quite often.
Now, as far as your relationship with the defendant, Ms. Reed, you considered yourself friends or friendly, is that correct?
Correct.
Was that something that you communicated to her, or she communicated to you in any way?
Yeah. And yeah, we would say how well we got
He's
along.
kind of
And
snarky.
she would say if they ever broke up, she hoped that she and I would stay friends.
Now, Mrs. O'Keefe, if I could turn your attention to January 28th, 2022 into January 29th, 2022. Actually, first, let me bring it back a little bit further. So New Year's Eve, going from 2021 into 2022. Do you recall that time frame?
I do.
And do you recall where you were or who you were with around that time of year?
We were in Aruba for my mother's birthday.
And when you say we, who, if anyone, were you in Aruba?
My mother, father, sister, husband, and our two girls.
And over the course of that, were you also aware of where your brother-in-law, Johnny O'Keefe, and Miss Reed, and children, Patrick and Kaylee, were at that time as well?
They were also in Aruba.
And so where they were situated in Aruba, where was that in relation to where you were situated?
We weren't close. You'd need a cab. It was not the other side of the island, but far enough away you'd need to catch a cab. They were more downtown.
And what, if anything, did you know about sort of who they were with or how they had come to be there in Aruba at that time?
They were with a large group of people. I don't know how many, but there was a large group of people that was going down.
And as far as you knew, was there any one person, excuse me, in particular, that organized sort of that trip? Or
Yes, Laura Sullivan.
and do you know Laura Sullivan?
I do.
And how do you know Laura Sullivan?
I know Laura through Johnny. He's her son's godfather.
And let's say, as far as you knew, that Mr. O'Keefe, Johnny O'Keefe, and Laura Sullivan had known each other for some time.
Correct.
Now, at any point when you were in Aruba during around the time of New Year's, did you ever meet up with or connect with Miss Reed and Johnny O'Keefe?
We did not.
Now, at some point in time when you were in Aruba during that same time frame, what, if any, conversation did you have with Miss Reed and Fenton?
I don't believe any with Johnny. Karen texted me on the flight down. The flight attendants were Karen and Erin, and we were trying to arrange and see if there was a time we could get together.
So the flight attendants on their flight down had the same names as both yourself and Miss Reed?
Yeah, she texted me and said that.
And so you had been trying to arrange some time or some day to sort of meet up, is that correct?
I don't know. I don't recall. I had texted her on New Year's Eve to see where they were.
And what, if anything, did she reply? Did she reply in text?
She did. It wasn't until later in the evening that she had caught Johnny kissing Laura's sister in the lobby of the hotel.
Yeah,
And what, if anything?
Sarah,
did she
you're
communicate to you
100% right.
or-
I'm literally
Just that they got into an argument about it.
trying not to gag, and that
So
the
did
throat
the two of you
clearing
invited
is
to, I
so
mean, two
bad.
groups of families, did you ever
It's
connect or meet up? at
Sarah.
anything
Did
when you
you
were-
watch
We did
the
Do you have any further conversation with Miss Reed in reference to what?
Did you watch the was it the Banfield, the au pair trial, and the nose sniffing? Like, these things are so annoying. Like, use a lozenge, take a cough drop or a lifesaver, and if you're gonna have drippy nose, take some freaking Sudafed and have some Kleenex in your pocket. It's disgusting. Oh,
she had indicated occurred at their resort?
I responded and said like kissing, and I don't recall what her response was, but I had missed the next text. She said did I want to meet up? She had freshened up and did I want to meet up? But I had missed it and was either already going to bed or just missed it until the next day.
So she had indicated to you via text that they had got into an argument and then further indicated or asked you if you wanted to meet up, correct?
Correct.
All right, Ms. Tillelli, I'm just going to give a brief instruction at this point. Excuse me. So, folks, you just heard testimony about statements that were allegedly made by the defendant. You're really not to use the statements for the truth, but you can consider them solely on the limited purpose of the defendant's state of mind and as they go to the nature of the relationship between the defendant and John O'Keefe. Thank you.
It's not exactly a
between
clear
that time in Aruba
instruction
and
there.
January 28th of 2022, had you had occasion to meet up with Johnny O'Keefe and or the defendant Karen Reed or the kids or anybody from that Kent house?
No.
Oh, I
older
know she
daughter
doesn't ever
tested positive,
explain things
and she and
properly,
Paul
in
were
my
had
opinion.
to stay back in Aruba. So we didn't have, and then by the time they got
Yeah,
back, it was back to
Baker's,
school,
yeah.
and we didn't have a chance.
We
Your
were
oldest daughter,
couldn't
quarantined
stop
along
talking
with
about
Aruba,
it.
came
Like
back
he
sometime
needs a
after when your
freaking
daughter-
tissue that got that
And
defensive
with
attorney.
respect to that, that sort of weekend of January 28th and January 29th,
And some
what kind of
Sudafed.
plans did you have initially to meet up with your brother-in-law Johnny and the defendant?
Johnny had been communicating to Paul that wanted to get us together on the 29th. And I said, there's a big storm coming. I don't think that's going to happen.
And so you were aware somehow of a big storm coming in on that weekend as far as the 29th was concerned?
Correct.
And what, if anything, do you recall sort of about what you were aware of as far as that storm, like how severe, what kind of storm?
I don't recall specifics, but I knew that it was a big storm that was coming for Saturday with a lot of snow.
And so you didn't think that was a good idea to set up a time to meet up at that time?
Correct.
Now, on that date of January 28th, what, if any, conversation did you have with Ms. Reed on that day?
What if any?
She
What
had
if
texted
any?
me while
What
I was
if
waiting for the
any?
school bus, asking if there was any chance I was out without Paul.
Was that a typical thing that she would text you as far as the without Paul part?
No.
And you indicated that you were waiting for the school bus. Is that right?
Correct.
And at that time in January 2022, you had two daughters, correct?
Yes,
Were
correct.
they sort of in the same school as far as on the same bus?
No, they were not. They're separate schools.
So fair to say one was maybe in elementary, one was in middle school.
Correct.
So as far as around that time that you
Oh.
would that have been the
I
younger
wish
daughter
you
or the
hadn't
older daughter
said
you were
that,
waiting
Sarah.
The younger daughter. It was
No.
after 3 o'clock.
for? And who comes home?
Oops,
or
where'd
at
it
that time
go?
came home first, the younger
Where
daughter?
did
Our
oh
older
you're-
daughter.
And
Your
when you received that
comments, where the hell did it
text from the
go?
defendant, what if anything did you or how did you
That's
respond?
weird. I see it on
I
my
said that I
phone.
was waiting for the school
but
bus,
not on
and we had basketball on
StreamYard.
Friday nights.
And the basketball on Friday nights, was that something that was one of your
Yeah,
daughters or
that's
both?
so wow.
And do you recall?
Yeah.
well,
No,
yeah,
I don't
with
know if
regard to
he
your daughter's
covers his
basketball,
mouth, and that's all I can
what, if
think
any,
now is how much he doesn't
relationship or
cover his
something
mouth
to those-
and how all
was
that
the coach for both of them.
clearing
And was
split
that something
is
that was
going
sort
all
of like a
over
local league,
everywhere.
correct?
Town league.
And did all of you, and by all I mean yourself, your husband, and the two girls, did you all go to both games that night?
Correct.
And do you recall about what time those games were?
6 or 7.
Now, Ms. Reed reached out to you and texted you, and then you responded as you described. What, if any, further conversation did you have with Ms. Reed?
Oh, there
on
it
that?
is.
I asked her if everything was okay,
Oh,
if
weird.
something was up, and she responded and said, just another day. I wish I didn't talk to an O'Keefe after 2004.
And how did you respond to that?
I said what happened, what's going on, and they had bickered, I guess, about her taking Kaylee to Dunkin' Donuts in the morning before school.
And just to be clear, when you say they, you mean Johnny O'Keefe and Karen.
Correct.
Do you recall sort of how that conversation evolved, or
Malin,
anything
I'm
else?
sorry.
I just knew that they had gotten into some type of, I don't know if it was an argument or there was something. They bickered about her taking them, and he said that she spoiled them.
Now, as far as your conversation with Ms. Reed in regard to the weekend, what, if anything, did the two of you talk about as far as sort of plans for the weekend?
Said I was anticipating a storm, so was probably going to hang in the neighborhood with everybody.
Now, as far as later on in that afternoon, what, if any, sort of further communication did you receive from Ms. Reed that day?
I think the last text was a picture, something that popped up in her memories of my children and Kaylee and Patrick from the Cape that summer, and said, this just popped up in my memories and made me smile.
Now, did you have occasion to talk with Ms. Reed any further on that day, the 28th?
No, that was it.
And so you went to your kids' basketball games, came back to your house, is that correct?
Correct.
And do you recall about what time you went to bed that night?
It was either close to midnight or after, because Paul and I were sitting up watching TV,
Do you recall what you were watching on TV?
Yellowstone.
Was that sort of like a binge watch
Yellowstone.
that you were doing?
Yes.
Now,
I'm sorry, but did any of
you
you just think back to of what Turtle Boy's comment was to 5150? Wasn't that about Yellowstone too. Sorry.
What's coming? Did you have occasion to sort of look out and make any observations about what the weather was like before you went to bed?
I noted that while we were still up watching television that it was snowing already.
And did you have occasion to see whether or not it was sort of sticking to either the pavement or the grass or anything like that?
I looked out on the deck and it was starting to accumulate on the deck, sticking to the deck.
You know about what time that was?
Probably around 10:30 or 11.
And this is at your house in West Bridgeport.
Correct.
Now, you go to bed and at some point you wake up on the 29th. And if you recall, what is it that wakes you up the next day?
I woke up to my husband on the phone with his mother saying he's going to be okay. He's going to be okay. And they got off the phone and I said, what happened and what's going on? And he said they found Johnny in the snow this morning.
And after that phone call, what is it that your husband called you?
He's pacing around and he goes to the bathroom to brush his teeth because he said that he was going to drive to the hospital.
And do you know what hospital he was going to drive to?
Good Samaritan.
And based on the weather and sort of the road conditions, what, if any, concerns did you have about that plan of your husband's?
I was concerned with him driving because the roads weren't good.
Now, as far as your in-laws, so your father-in-law is John O'Keefe Jr., is that correct?
Senior.
And your mother-in-law is Margaret or Peggy O'Keefe? Is that
Correct.
And what, if any, information did you have as far as were they going to the hospital, and if so, how were they there?
They were going to the hospital and Kerry Roberts was going to pick them up because they didn't have a car that could drive in the snow.
Sarah.
Now, was Kerry Roberts someone that you knew prior to this date?
I knew her from when Johnny moved to Canton.
And at some points, do you recall approximately how long was it between the time that the phone call comes in and the time that your husband left your house?
Does he do that throat clearing
minutes.
through the whole trial? I hope to God he doesn't.
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I don't know if I can, my anxiety
So
can
then-
literally tolerate that.
When your husband is leaving, what, if any, similar to earlier the previous evening, what, if any, observations did you make of sort of the weather and what was going on outside at the time he was leaving?
It was snowing when he was leaving. Heavy.
Now, at some point, you're at home and your children are at home with you, is that correct?
Correct.
And at some point, who, if anyone, do you reach out to
He
sort of find
sure
out what's
is
going on?
trying to plant
When
that
Paul was
seed
brushing his
really
teeth,
early.
I said to him, "Where's Karen?"
Isn't he? About how much snow. I mean, why bring that up? Because what she experienced at 10:11 the night before that was accumulating on her patio or whatever. And now, like, all he wants that focus on is how much snow there is to, like, have that in their brains so that they just, wow. That's insane.
Where is she? Is she okay? And I called her and I could hear the phone pick up and she didn't say hello. I just said, "Karen, what the hell is going on?" And she just yelled back in the phone, "John's dead." And Kerry Roberts grabbed the phone from her and said, "No, he's not. He's at the hospital. They're working on him." And I didn't know what was going on.
Was there any further conversation on that initial phone call that you made to?
They were in Kerry's car waiting for an ambulance to pick up Karen. And then Kerry was going to pick up my in-laws.
As far as sort of going through that day, what was the next learned as far as your brother-in-law Johnny and who did you learn from?
When I spoke to Kerry in the car, I asked her to take my phone number. I knew she was going to the hospital and I was nervous that Paul was going to be there by himself. So I asked her, please keep me
What did you find?
informed as to what was happening when she got there.
I'd love to know
Without
what
any reference to
Google
anything that
said.
Roberts may or may not have said to you, did you receive further updates from Ms. Roberts throughout the course of that morning?
I think I called her every 5 minutes.
And at some points, did you learn what sort of the status was in regards to John?
I think it was, I don't recall the exact time, but Kerry had texted me or called me to let me know when they were finally called in by the doctors from the emergency room.
And what, if anything, did you learn once they've been called in by the doctor?
All right, sustained.
At some point later on in that day, did you have further conversation with the defendant?
I did.
And do you remember approximately what time that was?
I think it was around 1 o'clock.
And if you recall, was that a situation where you called her or she called you? Or
I called her because I didn't know what was going on. And I kept saying to my husband, "Has anyone checked on Karen? Is Karen okay?" So I called her.
And when you called her, what, if any, conversation did you have with her at that time?
What if any conversation did
answered
you
the
have?
phone
Are you
and
fucking serious,
Said
Ellie?
that I was on speaker and she was in the car with her dad and they were driving to Dighton.
No, she just hung up. She didn't say anything after
Yes.
that.
What, if any, questions did you ask her about what had happened and what, if anything, did she say?
I asked her, I said, "What the hell happened last night?" And because I couldn't understand first how they were together if they had been arguing earlier in the day. And she told me that they were out, that she dropped him at a party afterwards, didn't feel like going, so dropped him and went back to Canton.
What, if anything, did she say occurred after dropping John?
Reddit can be
She
a
said she
slippery
went
slope,
back
I
to
tell you.
Canton. And I think woke up around 4:30 and couldn't find him, and woke up Kaylee to see if Kaylee had heard from him at all.
What, if anything, did she say happened after that?
She said that she went to go out and look, but the roads were bad, so went back and called Kerry and Jen so that they could drive together.
And by Kerry, you understood that to mean Kerry Roberts.
Kerry Roberts,
And by Jen, who, if anyone, did you understand that?
Jen McCabe.
Is that someone that you knew or were familiar with at that time?
I had never met Jen.
And what, if anything, did she say happened after that when she went out with Kerry and Jen?
I don't, is it possible to refresh my memory on that?
Without getting into that, just as far as beyond sort of what happened, what, if anything, else did the defendant say to you as far as
She told me that she had to remember the bad times, which struck me as an odd comment to say, but I assumed since she was at the hospital that maybe she was medicated, but it just struck me as something odd.
now, in addition to the having to remember the bad times, what, if anything, else did she say to you at that point during that phone call?
She said, I don't think I'm ever going to see you guys again. And I said, of course you will. We're friends.
Now, following that conversation.
Okay,
that
when
day,
was that phone call?
did you ever
Okay,
speak with
I'm
the defendant
interested in
already?
this
No.
because, hold on. When was this phone call? I want to go back and hear this real quick. See if they stated when this phone call was.
What, if anything, else did the defendant say to you?
Shit.
So that they could drive together.
By Kerry, you understood that to mean Kerry Roberts.
Kerry Roberts,
And by Jen, who, if anyone, did you understand that?
Jen McCabe.
Is that someone that you knew or were familiar with at that time?
I had never met Jen.
And what, if anything, did she say happened after that when she went out with Kerry and Jen?
I don't,
What did he?
Is it
I can't hear what he said. When is this
and went back to
conversation?
Canton.
What, if anything, did she say occurred after dropping John off?
She said she went back to Canton and I think woke up around 4:30 and couldn't find him, and woke up Kaylee to see if Kaylee.
Does anyone
had
know
heard
when this
from him.
conversation takes place? Is this before Paul O'Keefe and his wife get to the hospital, or later in the day? I'm curious now.
at all?
What, if anything, did she say happened after that?
She said that she went to go out and look, but the roads were bad, so went back and called Kerry and Jen so that they could drive together.
And by Kerry,
Hold on, I'm gonna go back a little more. Let's see.
And they were driving to Dighton.
and what, if any, questions did you ask her about what had happened, and what, if anything, did she say?
I asked her,
And when you called her, what, if any,
Right there, when
conversation
you
did have
called
as far as
her.
that?
Okay, when did she call her?
And if you recall, was that a situation where you called her or she called you, or?
I called her because I didn't know.
At some point later on in that day, did you have further conversation with the defendant? And
I did.
do you remember approximately what time that was?
I think it was around 1 o'clock.
There it is.
And if you
1
recall, was
o'clock that
a situation where you
afternoon.
called her or she
Okay.
called you, or?
I called her.
So after what
It
happens
struck me as an odd comment to say.
at the hospital, then what happens at the house where she's basically ignored and decides to leave, it isn't an odd comment to say that, because you can feel when people don't want to talk to you. When she went back to that house and ended up packing her things and leaving after 30 minutes, I am sure of it, that she felt how they were feeling towards her. And it obviously was negative, or she wouldn't have left. I mean, come on. So if she already felt like they didn't want her in that house, of course she's going to feel that way. And maybe she was looking for a little bit of reassurance. Wouldn't you? How is that odd? To me, that's not odd. If I was already feeling like They didn't want to talk to me at the house after this happened, this whole event. Everyone was, trying to process what happened to John. And yet I wasn't included in the grieving process at that point, which is probably why she left, packed her stuff and left. And then to get this call from her, and who knows how, what else was talked about specifically. She was already probably feeling left out, sitting at home dealing with this. She was probably wondering to herself, like, am I ever going to see them again? Like, these people she was surrounding herself with for the last several years. I think that would be a perfectly normal question.
But I assumed since she was at the hospital that maybe she was medicated. But it just struck me as something odd.
Now, in addition to the having to remember the bad times, what, if anything else, did she say to you at that point during that phone call?
She said, I don't think I'm ever going to see you guys again. And I said, of course you will. We're friends.
Now, following that conversation that day, did you ever speak with the defendant, Karen Reed, again?
No.
May I have one moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
Well,
just one last
see,
question.
right
So-
there. Right there just proved her point. I don't think I'm ever going to talk to you guys again or see you guys again. And she was right. I don't know about the whole I have to remember the bad times comment. I would have to hear the preface of it, like why, what she said before that. What was her thinking in the, before she made that comment? You would have to hear the entire conversation. But just in general, on that one comment specifically of saying, I don't think I'm ever going to see you guys again. And then she doesn't ever talk to them or see them again. Like, obviously she was right to think that. And she had a reason to think that. She's OP.
In regard to those last two statements that you had testified about, was that all part and parcel of the same conversation when the defendant indicated she was driving back with her father to Dighton?
Correct.
So there was no further conversation after that conversation shortly after 1 p.m.?
No.
I have nothing further for this witness.
All right. Cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. We have no questions.
All right, Ms. O'Keefe, you're all set. Thank you.
All right. Who's next? Let me go. Oh, hold on. I want to see who's next before we start another one. I'd like to get through as many as possible each day, just to, because that way people can rewatch it or whatever. But while I have the time, I'd like to get through a couple of these because I know how long this will be. The next couple are Officer Seraph and Malini. And Officer Seraph is 1 hour and 19 minutes. Do you guys want me to go through Officer Seraph tonight, or do you want me to wait? Hey, Annie. I found you through the chat rats. Okay, awesome. I'm so glad you're here. No worries if you couldn't answer. Okay, so we did talk one live about our moms. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Yes. Yep, I remember. So I'm so glad you made it here. Happy to have you. And so now, yes, I definitely remember that. I think it was the one specifically because, like, my mom had MS and we were talking about taking care of our moms and things like that. I'm pretty sure that's the one. Yeah. Sarah, Peggy looks like he was hit by a car. Oh, that's right. See? I even forgot about that. Okay, so exactly. So you're Karen. You went through what you went through. You lost your boyfriend. All this experience in the hospital. You're dealing with all this grief. Your boyfriend's brother throws you a kiss at the hospital, no less. Okay. Then you go back to the house and you're greeted by people that, don't even bother trying to console you. I'm assuming they weren't warming to her. I'm assuming they didn't run up and hug her like most people would in that situation. And then you have your boyfriend's mom saying, looks like he was hit by a car. Yeah, exactly. Everybody was giving her probably negative looks and negative vibes, like you shouldn't be here. And she probably felt it. I'm sorry. When people give you that vibe, you feel it. When people, don't want you around, even if they don't say it, you can tell. So, of course, that is a normal way of thinking. And then not only that, she was absolutely right to say it. Yeah, to think it. Because she never did speak to them or see them again. Besides at court. That's the one. Yeah, Annie, I thought so. I remember. I'm so glad. Let's see. Peggy, if Peggy said boo to me, I'd faint. That's funny. Do you guys want me to go through Officer Serap's? Can we do another hour and 19 minutes? And it's sped up to 1.5. So I would say would be about the next 45 minutes. I want to do it if you guys are up for it. All right, here we go.
Okay, whenever you're ready, Mr. Lally.
Thank you. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Could you please state your name and spell your last name for the record?
My name is Officer Saraf, Saraf, Canton Police Department.
And how long have you been a member of the Canton Police Department?
About 27 years.
Now, were you working with the Canton Police Department on January 28th into January 29th of 2022?
I was.
Do you recall what shift you were working on that occasion?
I was working midnight to 8 shift.
Midnight to 8 a.m., is that correct?
That's correct.
And were you dispatched to a call at approximately 6:05 a.m.?
Yes, I was.
And if you recall, what was the dispatch in regard to and where specifically were you dispatched to?
It was a call of a person that was unconscious outside, I believe it was 34 Fairview Road in Canton.
Now, that particular area of Canton, are you familiar with that area of Canton?
Yes.
And as far as the town of Canton is concerned with respect to police department, is there sort of different sectors within the town that you would be assigned to patrol?
That's correct.
And the area of Fairview Road, would that be within your sector that you typically
Yes.
patrol?
That was West Sector.
And how many sectors within the town of Canton are there?
4.
Now, that particular area of Fairview Road, what type of area is that? Is it residential, commercial, or something else?
Residential.
And the roadway of Fairview Road, there's houses on that roadway, is that correct?
That's correct.
Is there any sort of, it's a paved roadway, is that correct?
It is. Yes.
The lanes, are they divided by any sort of lines in the middle of it?
Yes.
And who, if anyone, owns or maintains that particular roadway?
The town of Canton does.
Now, you received that dispatch. Where were you, if you recall, when you received the dispatch?
I was. There's a church right next to the police station. I was in that parking lot.
And with respect to the evening of the 28th into the morning of the 29th, what, if anything, were you aware of as far as sort of forecast of the weather or anything sort of impending coming?
Yeah, it was snowing pretty good that night. It was a snowstorm that evening.
So there's a snowstorm that had been predicted, is that correct?
I believe so. Yeah.
There was a snowstorm actually occurring around that time, just after 6 a.m.
That's correct.
And at the time that you're responding, a little after 6 a.m., was light out, dark out, or something?
It was dark out.
And the time, if you know, how much time elapsed sort of between the time that you received the call and the time that you arrived in that area of Fairview?
It's pretty close to a couple of minutes maybe, because I didn't obviously go as fast as you could go because the roads were pretty snowy.
During the course of, you've been working sort of since midnight, correct?
Correct.
And over the course of your work throughout that evening, had you, or what, if anything, had you noticed with regard to snow removal as far as town plows or anything like that?
I don't understand. Were they plowing? Is that your question? They were plowing the roads.
So there had been some sort of treatment or plowing to the roads prior to your response, as far as you know?
Yes. Yes.
What were sort of the road conditions or the visibility or anything like that, if you recall, during your response time?
It was snowing pretty well. The roads were definitely slippery. It took me a while to get to
God, this emphasis on the snow, Lally.
And,
Seriously?
if you recall,
Like,
sir, what was sort of the path of travel that you took from? You mentioned you were in the church parking lot next to the police station, correct?
That's correct.
And where is the police station located in
I'm
Canton?
not
Police
sure
station's
who
on
said
Washington
it
Street, 1492 Wash.
earlier, but I think you're
And so what was sort of the
100%
path of travel
correct.
that
The
you
fact
took
that he's
from
going,
church
I'm
parking
not
lot to
about
the
the
police station to
snow.
So I went past the police station onto Chapman Street,
All three
and then
witnesses now.
from Chapman Street I went to Fairview Road.
He's trying to get the jury to already
when you
paint
were
this
approaching Fairview
picture
Road,
of
you
a
were taking a right or left
huge
or something?
It's a right.
snowstorm.
And as you
And
were
yet,
taking that right onto
when this
Fairview,
happened,
what, if anything,
There was
happened
barely
with the
any
vehicle
snow
you were
on the
taking?
ground.
Nothing that I recall.
And that particular, coming from that, the Chapman side of Fairview, Fairview goes from Chapman and then it goes down to sort of, let's say, the bottom of the street. It connects with another street. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And what is the street that?
Cedar Crest?
And if you're coming from the Chapman side down to the Cedar Crest side, what, if anything, is there as far as an elevation? Like, is it uphill, downhill, or flat?
It's down. It's down a hill. Really decent sized hill.
Now, as you are driving down Fairview, what, if anything, you
Wait,
mentioned it was dark.
what did you
That's
say
correct.
is
What, if
down a
anything, beyond
hill?
sort of the
What?
headlights on your
the fuck?
cruiser?
Hold on. I always have to go back and check I heard what I heard.
Town plows or anything like that?
I don't understand. Were they plowing? Is that your question?
I
They were plowing the roads.
so there had been some sort of treatment or plowing to the roads prior to your response, as far as you know?
Yes. Yes.
What was sort of the road conditions or the visibility or anything like that, if you recall, during your response time?
It was snowing pretty well. The roads were definitely slippery. It took me a while to get to the destination.
And if you recall, sir, what was sort of the path of travel that you took from? You mentioned you were in the church parking lot next to the police station, correct?
That's correct.
And where's the police station located in
So
Kent?
the police station's on Washington Street, 1492 Wash.
And so what was sort of the path of travel that you took from the church lot next to the police station to Fairview?
So I went past the police station onto Chapman Street, and then from Chapman Street I went to Fairview Road.
And when you were approaching Fairview Road, are you taking a right or left or something?
It's a right.
And as you were taking that right onto Fairview, what, if anything, happened with your vehicle as you were taking that turn?
Nothing that I recall.
And that particular, coming from that Chapman side of Fairview, Fairview goes from Chapman and then it goes down to sort of, let's say, the bottom of the street. It connects with another street. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And what is the street that's
Cedar Crest?
And if you're coming from the Chapman side down to the Cedar Crest side, what, if anything, is there as far as an elevation? Like, is it uphill, downhill, or flat?
It's down. It's down a hill. Fairly decent sized hill.
A decent sized hill.
Now,
Now, is he speaking specifically? Because the way Lally worded it, it was a little weird. He was saying down or towards a certain street. Is he talking about Fairview itself? Holy shit! Like, we all know from Turtle Boy's video that there is no hill, as he warns that little kid on his bike. Watch out for that hill when there is none. So, what the fuck is he talking about? Is there a street with some hill that I'm missing? Because everything that I've seen from the street, the videos, the cop car surveillance, all these things, I do not see any sort of elevation in these whatsoever. And for him to say it was a significant downhill, unless I'm missing something.
you are driving down Fairview, what, if anything, I mentioned it was dark outside, correct?
That's correct.
So what, if anything, beyond sort of the headlights on your cruiser?
What if anything, it was dark outside,
I
right?
had a spotlight on the driver's side,
Yeah.
handheld spotlight to try to locate the house in question.
And if I could just ask you a little bit about the type of vehicle that you were driving. So was it, what kind of police cruiser were you driving?
It's Explorer.
So SUV, is that right?
Yes, SUV. Yes.
And as far as those, or the particular cruiser that you were driving on that occasion, what, if anything, is it equipped with as far as cameras or anything like that within the vehicle?
It's equipped with a camera for front and back, and in the rear seat of the cruiser.
And so as you're driving down Fairview, you reach out and start to utilize your spotlight sort of on, where is that located on the cruiser?
It's on my left-hand side.
Is that a spotlight that's outside of the cruiser or inside the cruiser? Where is it located
On the outside of the cruiser, but there's a handle that manipulates it so you can point the spotlight where you want to go.
So you have some sort of tool within the cruiser where you can manipulate where it points.
That's correct.
And as you're coming down Fairview, utilizing that spotlight, what, if anything, do you observe out in front?
Well, as I got to my destination, I saw 3 people on the lawn of in the snow, waving at me.
And initially, when you see these 3 people in the snow, do you have any idea sort of who they are, or male, female, anything like that?
There were 3 women, and I later learned there was a male subject on the ground.
And so when you initially are sort of approaching or getting to the residence, you indicate to see the 3 women waving at you. Could you see, or what, if anything, could you see the body at that point?
I saw that there was somebody on the ground. Yes,
So you could see the 3 women and you could see a person on the ground.
that's correct.
And at some point, subsequent to this, did you learn the identity of the person on the ground?
I did.
And who did you learn that?
John
person?
O'Keefe.
And prior
Wasn't
to
he
this,
the one
day prior-
too that blew through all those stop signs? Sorry to stop you guys out of nowhere. But if anyone's watching that watched with me the other day, I know Malin, you were here. When the officer surveillance from the Google Drive shows him blow like 5 stop signs in a row, wasn't that him that was driving that cruiser? If you guys know, I have to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure it was Officer Sarah's cruiser, and he was the one that blew through all those stop signs for no reason.
This dispatch, did you know John O'Keefe in any way?
No.
Now, the 3 females that you saw sort of around Mr. O'Keefe's body on the ground, at some point later, did you subsequently identify who those 3 people were?
I did.
And who did you identify?
One was Karen Reed. The other one was Miss McCabe and Miss Robertson.
Now, you arrive on scene and I'm assuming you get out of your cruiser, is that correct?
That's correct.
What, if anything, did you do from
I walked over to the scene. I first asked, is this person a drug user? He's an issue with drugs. Somebody said, no, he's a Boston police officer. I said, okay. I checked for a pulse. I couldn't find a pulse. Then I went back to my cruiser and tried to find the AED, which is an automated external defibrillator.
Back just for a second. So you indicated that you checked for a pulse, correct?
That's correct.
And where on Mr. O'Keefe did you check for?
On his neck, it's carotid.
So it's carotid, is that correct?
That's correct.
And when you made contact with sort of the skin area in his carotid area on his neck, what, if anything, did you observe as far as Mr. O'Keefe when you did that?
I couldn't find any pulse or anything like that, and he was cold to the touch.
Now, when you did this, Mr. O'Keefe, you mentioned, was sort of on the ground, correct?
That's correct.
And how was he sort of positioned on the ground?
He was laying on his back.
And as far as your observations of Mr. O'Keefe during this initial time when you're checking the pulse, what, if anything, did you observe sort of on him or around him or anything like that?
I didn't really.
Let me ask it a different way. So as far as you mentioned that when you arrived there, it was snowing out, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And so how much snow was in and around or on top of Mr. O'Keefe when you first observed?
It was about, I would say about 6 inches on the ground. There was a light dusting on top of him, I would say.
And what, if any, observations did you make of Mr. O'Keefe and sort of how he was dressed at this time initially that you observed?
I don't recall what he was wearing.
Now, with reference to the residence at 34 Fairview Road, if you're standing in front of the house on the street facing the house, which side of the property was Mr. O'Keefe lying on his back?
As you're facing the house, it's to the, I'm sorry, go again. Can you say that again, please?
So if you're standing on the street facing the house, was Mr. O'Keefe more to the center of the property, the right of the property, or the left?
He's on the left of the property, yes.
Now, in addition to Mr. O'Keefe, any sort of area on the left side of the property, what, if any, sort of other landmarks or other things that you observe on that
It
side?
would be so much
To the
fun
left of
to
the
go
property, there
down
was a
that
fire
hill.
hydrant,
and like, oh my
bush,
God.
a flagpole, I believe. To the left, to the
See, okay,
farther
Malin,
left,
I
more
think
near
it
the property
was
line,
you. I'm
I would
pretty
say.
sure it was him.
Now, with
Who
reference
threw those
to
stupid stop
mentioned that there was
signs for
snowing
no
out and there was
fucking
snow,
reason?
correct?
That's correct.
What, if anything else, did you note as far as the weather conditions, as far as wind, temperature, or anything like that?
It was, I would say it was near blizzard conditions. It was snowing really, really hard.
And how cold? Obviously, January is snowing out. It was cold, but how cold was it, if you know, when you first left?
Less than 32 degrees. I don't know exactly. I mean, it was cold.
So you pull up in that area with the three females. Are they to your right or to your left?
I pulled up, basically, I had my cruiser straight on.
And
Right.
so which side of the cruiser were the three females and Mr. O'Keefe when you pull up and stop?
It was straight ahead.
Straight ahead.
A little to the left.
Okay. And what, if any, other vehicles did you observe sort of in the roadway in that area where three females were? And
Okay.
There was another.
No, he did not pull up straight ahead. They were to his left. He's making it seem like his car, the front end of his car, was facing the people, like in front of him. No, the people were to his left. Yes, they were in front of his eyes, but to the left. I don't think that makes a big deal, but I just think it's funny the way he says that. Like, he makes it seem like when he pulled up to the scene, so the front end of his car was facing the lawn. Whatever. He didn't even do a California stop. He just kept going. He didn't even slow down. He did not. He just went right through those stop signs like they weren't even there. Like there couldn't possibly be a car coming from the other way. Like, doesn't matter. I'm in a cruiser. You guys better stop for me. I don't have my sirens on. Probably don't have my lights on. So, or my, my cup lights. But I have the right of way. Since there's a little bit of snow on the ground, I'm just going to go right through these stop signs. Yep.
Vehicle in the roadway on the side of the road. I parked basically right behind that.
And do you recall anything about that vehicle, like what type it was, what color, or anything like that?
I don't recall.
Now, with regard to the three females you identified as Ms. Reed, Ms. McCabe, and Ms. Roberts, do you recall where they were in relation to Mr. O'Keefe, each of them, when you first sort of pull up and get out of your cruiser?
So when I arrived, I saw Ms. Reed looked like she was giving CPR to him, and she had blood on her face.
Now, in addition to yourself, there are other sort of first responders that have dispatched to the scene as well. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And of them, who, if anyone else, was on scene at the time that you arrived?
When I arrived, I was the first to arrive. Then there was Officer Mulaney that came a few minutes later, and then the fire department came after him, and I believe Sergeant Good came like within that. I don't know how many minutes, but it was pretty close.
So you first arrive on scene, and then Mulaney comes a couple minutes later?
Yes.
And about how long was it between when Officer Mulaney arrives and when the fire department arrives?
A couple minutes.
And at some point after that, a Sergeant Good comes. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Sergeant Good is a sergeant with your department.
That's correct.
Now, the fire department, when they arrived, do you recall what type of apparatus they had that arrived on scene?
I believe it was an engine. They usually come with an engine and an ambulance.
So, to your recollection, it was at least an ambulance and an engine.
Yeah. Yes.
When you were in transit, sort of coming from the church parking lot next to the station, 234 Fairview, what, if anything, did you have activated on your cruiser as far as lights or sirens or anything like that?
I believe I might have my blue lights on. I'm not sure.
As far as the time that you're coming, this is shortly after 6 a.m. in a blizzard, was there, what, if any, sort of other vehicular traffic did you observe en route from church parking lot to 34 Fairview?
There wasn't any that I can recall.
So you go to get your AED device from your cruiser, is that correct?
That's correct.
And around that time that you're retrieving that, what happens?
The FD, the fire department, came on scene and they took over care of Mr. O'Keefe.
Now, beyond sort of just checking pulse, as far as around that time when you were checking the pulse in the carotid area for Mr. O'Keefe, what, if any, other observations did you make with regard to any injuries or anything else on Mr. O'Keefe?
Well, when I first got there, he had blood on his face and it was just wiped away. So that's the only.
So there was blood on his face that was wiped away?
That's correct.
Now, when the fire department arrives on scene and they sort of take over resuscitative efforts with regard to Mr. O'Keefe, is that correct?
That is correct.
And person you identified as Ms. Reed, firstly, do you see that person in the courtroom today?
I do.
Can you just identify as where she's seated or not?
Sitting at the table right there, in black.
Does that record reflect identification by witness?
Yes.
After the fire department arrived and they sort of take over resuscitative efforts with regard to Mr. O'Keefe, what, if any, observations did you make of Ms. Reed and what she was doing or saying at that?
Ms. Reed was visibly upset. She kept saying, "This is all my fault. This is my fault. I did this," and she was very hysterical. And she kept asking, "He's dead. Is he dead? Is he dead?"
And with that specific phraseology, that's something that she kept saying?
Yes.
And by your repetitive nature, I'm assuming it was something that you said more than once. Correct?
Several times, correct.
And when she's saying this, can you describe sort of how she's saying this? I mean, is it a whisper, is it a scream, or is it something?
She was yelling pretty good.
And with regard to her repetitive question, as far as
And I just have to express that
to her in regard to that.
I just said,
from a psychological point of view, in my opinion, that is perfectly normal. So I don't know, like, I'm going to reserve that for later testimony, that what I'm thinking right now. But the point is that people blame themselves for lots of things. And when you go through the stages of grief, you can go through them quickly, slowly. Every stage is different. I mean, seriously, okay. I'm trying to see if this comparison would even make sense, but my mom passed away in the summer of 2023. And I've always been felt as an empath. People have told me I didn't seem like an empath. I can feel people's feelings. And that goes back to how I said earlier, like if I was in a room with a bunch of people who didn't want me there, I would know right away. I would feel it. Okay, so I'm trying how to put it. A week before my mom passed away, and so just so you know, her passing was sudden, pretty sudden. And my mom had been dealing with multiple sclerosis, rheumatoid arthritis. She had broken her knee 3 times within a year and a half. She was in physical rehabilitation center 3 times in 1 year. And when she finally got back to her apartment after the 3rd stay, she wasn't calling me as much. I had seen her in the last, a day before she got discharged at the rehab. And I woke up about a week after it was probably more like 2 weeks after she was home. I woke up at 4:30 in the morning after a nightmare that my mom had passed away. I had a nightmare that she passed away. And I called her. Sorry, when I talk about my mom, I cry. So give me a second. And my mom would do this to me over the years, ever since I was younger and could go out on my own. She would call me, like, I just had a bad feeling. Are you okay? Like, things like that. We would do that to each other all the time. But this was the first time I had a nightmare like this of my mom. And I called her at 4:30 in the morning, asking her if she was okay. And told her what had happened. She's like, no, honey, I'm fine. I'm fine. You don't have to worry. And then a week later, I get a phone call that she's in the hospital because my brother had went to our apartment and found out that she had bed sores and things like this. And I think she gave up. Looking back at it, I think she gave up because the doctor, after the third stay in rehab, they kept pushing her and telling her she needed to go to assisted living. And my mom was adamant that she never wanted to be in assisted living, ever. And so, to make a long story short, I got the call. But by the time I made it to the hospital, my mom was so doped up and on pain meds, she wasn't conscious. And she never regained consciousness. So, you have no idea the thoughts that you have when someone passes away suddenly, especially someone that you're extremely close to. Like, I went through the blame game immediately. Like, why didn't I go to her house? Why didn't I go to her apartment and double check that she was okay? Why didn't I do all these things? And it's my fault that this happened. Sorry, guys. Thank you. I see your hugs, and I still go through severe bouts of grief with my mom. We had our differences. We used to fight a lot, but that's our Polishness coming and our stubbornness. But we loved each other. We could fight, and 5 minutes later, we'd be like, "Love you, sorry," and everything would be fine. That was just how we were. But the immediate blame you put on yourself when someone that close to you passes away suddenly, no matter what the cause, is insane. So this right here, and people that have gone on to say that she blamed herself and right away and use that as something to use against her, drives me fucking crazy. And so, in saying all this and going through all this, I just want to, compare. Yes, it's not the same the way they passed away, but it doesn't matter. It's about someone that you love that is that close to you that passes away and going through the stages of grief. You blame yourself no matter what, even if you have nothing to do with it. I still, to this day, think, God, if I had went over there and saw what she was going through, this would have never happened. But she didn't tell me either. All she had to do was say, hey, I can't take care of myself as much. I'm getting these sores. She didn't say a single word. And when I called her to make sure she was okay, nope, honey, I'm fine. Don't you worry about me. How dare you use someone's grief against them? That's what pisses me off about that. I'm sorry I went off on a total tangent here. I didn't mean to do this. It's the second time now already I've cried on my streams, but it's cathartic for me. So as long as you guys don't mind listening, I appreciate that you listen. But that's the only way that I can compare from my point of view, is that, everyone's stages of grief are different, and how you feel about it and go through those, the process of everything that happened is different for everyone. And for someone to blame themselves is not surprising. And it doesn't mean that they seriously had any guilt or anything to do with their cause of death just because they say stuff like that. Just saying. Anyways, thanks, guys. Let's go to Officer Sarah. All right.
They're doing the best that they can. I don't know.
Now, at some point, did
Thank
you
you, guys.
direct Ms. Reed, the defendant, to somewhere else away from Mr. O'Keefe?
Yeah, I tried to get her out of the elements. I put her in a car. I don't know if it was my cruiser or another cruiser there, but I had her sit in the back seat
You
just to get out of
something like
the
that
snow.
against someone is sick.
And did she stay in that cruiser for any?
She stayed in for a few minutes and then she was like up and down, up and down.
So sort of in and out of whatever car you put her into.
That's correct.
When she would come out of the car, where would she go?
She was just walking around. From what I remember,
Now, with reference to Mr. O'Keefe, he's laying on his back on the ground. That location, where was that in relation to the roadway at Fairview Road?
I would say about 20 feet off the road.
So if it's 20 feet off the road, is it fair to say that was on sort of the front lawn of 34 Fairview?
Yes, that's correct.
And at some point, the fire department takes Mr. O'Keefe's body off of the lawn. Is that correct?
That is.
And where were you in relation to Mr. O'Keefe on that?
I don't remember.
And from, if you don't remember, do you recall anything about sort of what the ground looked like when Mr. O'Keefe was lifted up?
I don't recall. I didn't.
Now that area around where Mr. O'Keefe was, when you initially come up, you see him on the ground and you check for pulse. If anything, did you note around Mr. O'Keefe's body as far as the condition of or disturbance of the snow around?
I noticed that there were footprints and track marks around the body itself. There was none coming from the residence or the area. It was just right around the body itself.
And so the position that Mr. O'Keefe is lying on his back on the lawn, correct?
Correct.
Is his head closer to the house or the street or?
I believe his head was closest to the house.
And the footprints that you're talking about, was that between sort of his feet in the street or above his head, or where was it in relation to his?
Basically all around him because people were walking around him.
And as far as beyond sort of the immediate area above his head, between his head and the house, what if any footprints, what if any disturbance in the snow that you observed?
I didn't see any.
Now, Officer Saraf, about how long was it that you were on scene?
I'm going to say about an hour and a half.
And at some point, the fire department transports Mr. O'Keefe from the scene. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And do you know to what facility he was transported to?
I don't recall when they went.
And after Mr. O'Keefe was taken away by the fire department, as far as the three females, Ms. Reed, Ms. McCabe, Ms. Roberts, do you know where they went or what they did following that?
They, after talking to Sergeant Good, they left in their car. I don't know where they went. The car that was there, they left.
Now, at any point in time that you were on scene before they left, did you have any conversation with any of the three of them?
I asked, what happened? What were they doing?
And who specifically did you talk to, if you recall?
Well, I asked Ms. Reed, and she couldn't really tell me too much about what happened. Ms. McCabe said that they were drinking in a couple bars downtown.
As far as, so just sticking with Ms. Reed, you asked her what happened and you indicated she didn't really tell you.
No.
Why not? What was her condition like at that point?
She was very upset.
So the same upset that you were describing earlier, did that sort of continue throughout the time that she was on scene while you were there?
I would say yes.
And at some point, did you speak to Ms. McCabe without reference to what she told you?
I'm sorry.
At some point while you're on scene, did you speak to either Ms. McCabe or Ms. Roberts without reference to what they told you?
No. I mean,
Let me rephrase.
Yeah.
At some point when you're on scene, did you have
I
occasion
agree,
to have a
Sarah.
conversation with Ms. McCabe?
yes.
And that goes back to the blanket statement that everybody reacts differently to grief and tragedy and all these, I'm a crier. I mean, as you can obviously tell, I'm a crier. When bad things happen, I cry. It's who I am. It's the way my body reacts. I literally, no matter how hard I try, I physically can't stop it. It's just how my body reacts. But then you have to realize that people who cry, like me, there are going to be opposites. People whose bodies don't cry. They internalize it. They take it in. I can't express it enough that everybody is different. Just because I cry at some of the dumbest things, sometimes I cry. Being in my 40s, I've dealt with it. I live with it. It is what it is. But I also know that doesn't mean everybody else does. No one is going to react the exact same to the same situation. No one. You are too, Sarah. Okay. I don't feel so bad then. I can't. I mean, sometimes I literally catch myself crying at the dumbest things. Like, why am I crying? But that is sometimes you can't help it. It's just your body's reaction, you know? It's the way your body reacts. Can't help it. And people that are on the opposite spectrum of that internalize everything and don't show anything on the outside. And that doesn't mean that they're cold. It means that they don't express their feelings outward. That's all it means. Oh, you're good, Sarah.
And at some point when you were on scene, did you have occasion to have a conversation with Ms. Roberts?
I didn't speak with Ms. Roberts, I don't believe.
Was there someone else from your department that was speaking with Ms. Roberts on scene? You know,
I believe Sergeant Good or Officer Mulaney was.
one of the other two officers that were there.
Correct.
Now, following Sergeant Good's arrival, who, if anyone else from your department, arrived on scene at some point?
Detective Lank, Detective Sergeant Lank, and Lieutenant Gallagher.
And if you know, when was their arrival in relation to sort of when you arrived?
It was light out, so I want to say maybe 7 o'clock-ish.
And so for the period that you were on scene, you said it was about an hour and a half, is that correct?
That's about right.
The weather conditions that you described sort of when you first arrived, what if any change occurred in the weather conditions from the time that you arrived and the time that you left?
The conditions lightened up a little bit. I mean, it was still snowing, but
Still snowing, still cold, correct?
that's correct.
The winds.
Oh,
that's
here
still
we are
consistent
back
as well.
talking
Yes.
about the stinking snow. Jeez, oh, Pete. We got it.
Now, at
It was
some point-
snowing.
After Ms. Reed, the defendant, left the scene, did she come back?
She did.
And do you know how long period it was that she was gone between when she left and when she came back?
Just a few minutes.
And do you know why she came back?
I don't know.
And when she returned to the scene, who, if anyone, did you speak with her further at that point?
No.
Who, if anyone, did you observe her to be speaking?
I don't recall.
Now, the initial ambulance that showed up took and transported Mr. O'Keefe, is that correct?
That is correct.
Now, after that ambulance left and Ms. Reed came back to the scene, what, if any, other apparatus from the fire department arrived at the scene?
Another
I
ambulance
don't
came.
blame you.
And who, if anyone, went?
I typed cry for it so much, I probably would have spelt it the exact same way. Actually, I type cry fart now more than I do cry fart. I don't know. Cry fart's funnier to me. So that's what I always call him now. That's his name now to me.
in that ambulance for transport?
They took Ms. Reed to the hospital.
Do you know what hospital that she went to?
I don't recall.
May I have one moment, Ron?
Yes.
Ms. Gilman, if I could have exhibit number 8.
Oh, Lally's hair. Oh my
Now,
God.
Officer Sarah, do you recognize what's depicted up on the screen as exhibit number 8?
Yes,
Or what do you recognize that?
it's the house 34 Fairview.
And that's the house that you responded to on that
Me?
date, is that correct?
I'm
That is
back
correct,
to
yeah.
What's
picturing
the key to that
him.
photograph? Is that a fair and accurate
It is
portrayal of what you observed
Jared
when you arrived on that
Joe.
date?
Yes.
Damn it.
May I approach the
I'm
witness?
out.
Yes.
I gotta stop and get some on the way to court.
Basically, this button here, you just click on that.
Mhm.
and that will shine wherever you want. So from this photograph in exhibit number 8, sir, where Mr. O'Keefe's body was when
See,
you first
Malin,
arrived, is that
everyone is
visible in the
different.
photograph or no?
Exactly. Like,
I would say it would be over more to the left.
and I have to say,
further off to the
even
left, is
me
that correct?
being a
That's correct.
crier,
Before we get to that, just briefly,
oh, hold on. Even me being a crier who cries at a lot of things, most people would probably like, why are you crying? There are certain things too that I can't exactly that you don't cry. You can't because it affects you a completely different way. And it's when you start crying, like, I mean, I literally, a prime example is 20 minutes ago or whatever, when I started crying. I didn't want to cry. My body just started doing it. You can't control it most of the time, you know? No matter how many times over the years I wanted to stop crying. And actually, I'll be honest, when you want to, at least for me, when I want to stop crying, it only makes it worse. I only cry more. It's just the way it is.
Ms. Gilman, if I could have exhibit number 13. Now, Officer Sarah, do you recognize what's contained in this exhibit number 13?
It's a street.
That's,
No hill. Sorry.
fair enough. May I approach the witness, Your Honor? Yes. So what I placed before you was exhibit 13, is that what's up on the screen?
Yes, this is
And is that a fair and accurate portrayal of what Fairview Road looked like around the time that you were dispatched and arrived on scene?
yes,
Absent the lighting condition, you mentioned it was dark when you arrived, correct?
that is correct.
So this is sometime after when the sun is coming.
I love how blurry it is too. Dude, this trial was in what, 2024? You cannot tell me they couldn't get a better picture than that. Unless it's just the streaming of it. But still, that picture looks terrible. It is blurred probably on purpose to give a false sense of the snow.
If I could ask you to flip to the next exhibit number 14, if I can have that one. And again, officer, what's up on the screen, is that what you have before you as exhibit 14?
Yes,
And you were testifying earlier about sort of footprints in and around where Mr. O'Keefe was. Is that correct?
that is correct.
And what's depicted on the screen in exhibit number 14 is that fair and accurate portrayal of the footprints that you were talking about.
Yes,
May I approach the witness room?
Yes.
So now I'm showing you what's been marked as exhibit 18. Now, from this photograph, first and foremost, do you recognize what's depicted up in exhibit
And I
18?
have always said, because had I not seen somebody's live video of the grass, you know, of the yard, the way that they portray the front of this house, yeah, Sarah, see? Yeah, was it taken on a flip phone? Yeah. That photograph was awful. So was this one. You cannot tell me that in 2024 they did not have a better picture than this. And this picture right here for a long time, you know, made my eyes see something that wasn't true. That it looks like that yard is huge. And it's not. Had I not been able to see literally someone's live video of that lawn and where the actual curb is and how big and really how small that yard is, you would be left with the impression that it would be easy to miss a body right there. But when you look at the actual size, like when you see it for real, you can totally tell that no one could have come out of that house, walked out the front door, walked to their car, cleaned their car off, taken all that time, walked around their car to clean it off if they did so, which they should have, if there was that much snow, and didn't see someone laying right there.
yes,
And this is 34 Fairview Road, correct?
that is correct.
And in regard to, you had mentioned some sort of landmarks off to the left side of the property, you're facing the property from the street, correct?
Yes,
And if you could, using that laser pointer that I placed up there before you, if you could direct the jury's attention to first those landmarks that you observed. I'm sorry, officer, if you could, while you're
sorry.
if you could just describe what you're
so there's the flagpole right there. There's a bush there, and right there, I believe, is the fire hydrant.
And so where in relation to this photograph, if you can see it here, was Mr. O'Keefe's body when you first saw it?
It's right in this area right here.
Now, if I could turn back just a moment, when you indicated that you were coming up to the scene and you could see the three females sort of waving and Mr. O'Keefe on the ground, correct?
That is correct.
About how far away were you from them when you first observed them or first saw them?
About 20 feet or so.
And when you are driving down Fairview, if you could describe to the jury, where is your direction? Sort of where are you directed as far as you're driving a vehicle? Are you looking straight in front of you, or are you looking out the window? A combination of both, or
I was looking for the house numbers, trying to find the house where it was, and there was, I saw the motor vehicle parked on the side of the road.
that sort of leads to my next question, sir. So, what did you see first? Did you see the vehicle parked in front of you, or did you see the people off to the side?
I saw the vehicle.
May I approach this with you now?
Yes.
So, Officer Saraf, you had testified earlier in regard to a camera within your cruiser, correct?
That's correct.
And subsequent to that day, have you seen the video of your arrival to the scene from the cruiser camera perspective?
I saw it once.
Okay. And Your Honor, I would seek to introduce in a minute as the next exhibit the cruiser camera stream one from cruiser 683.
Or is there an objection?
Thank you. I'm sorry, I can. Ms. Gilman, if you could play what's now been marked as exhibit 25. And if you could just pause it right there, Ms. Gilman. Officer Saraf, what's up on the screen? Is that what you recall as far as the sort of visibility and the roadway conditions when you first left the church parking lot?
Yes,
And this is you sort of leaving from the church parking lot as you're going to 34th, correct?
yes,
Now, there are a number of different sort of things up on the screen. There's an indication as far as the speed of the vehicle is going, correct?
yes.
And where is that located, if you could, with the laser pointed at?
So whoops, sorry.
Now, along sort of the bottom of that particular video, there's an indication as far as mic, brakes, lights, silent, correct?
Correct.
If those are activated, is there any sort of change in sort of the depiction there? Does it change sort of color or anything like that that you're aware of?
I don't know.
And the 683 on the bottom right corner, is that the cruiser that you were in that day?
Yes, that's correct.
Now, as far as sort of the top middle of this video, there's a date and a time. Is that correct?
That's correct.
As far as you're aware, that date and time that's up there, that's accurate to when this occurred, correct?
Yes,
Okay, so we're sort of looking in real time, correct?
correct.
So Ms. Yeoman, if you could just let it run from this. Ms. Yeoman, I'm sorry, could you stop this brief? So, Officer Sarif, this road you're traversing at this point, this is Washington Street, is that correct?
That is correct.
And at some point, you're going to then travel through and then take a right onto Fairview, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, if you could, just for the jury's sake, as you approach Fairview and as you're taking that right turn, just direct their attention to the fact that that's when you're turning onto Fairview.
Sure.
Okay. Ms. Gilman, you can go ahead.
So this right here is Chapman Street.
I have not seen a hill anywhere, so let's keep watching.
This right here is Fairview.
Yeah, I have not seen a hill. Okay, and we're on Fairview.
So, Officer, similar to as a turn onto Fairview, at some point, if you observe the point at which you believe you sort of illuminated your spotlight on the side of the cruiser, if you could just speak up and draw the jury's attention to that as well.
Okay.
Ms. Gilman, if you could continue.
Still no hill. Where is this
Right
substation?
about now, I believe I put the spotlight on.
Thanks. I'm sorry, Ms. Gilman, if you could just sort of run it from this point to about the 4-minute mark, and then I'd ask you.
Right there.
Okay,
Now,
we just
Officer
watched
Sarif,
him
this is-
drive that
this is my
subdivision.
earlier as far as the
There
vehicle
was-
in front of you that you observed first.
Where was that
Parties off to the
substantial
left,
hill he was talking about?
Waving, and Mr. O'Keefe on the correct?
Oh, no.
That's correct.
And if you could, just
Seriously?
using that laser pointer, direct the jury's attention to number 1, where the vehicle is that you observed in front of you.
If there was
and number
such a
2, where you observed
substantial hill,
something
why
else.
don't you point it out,
So
Lally?
here's the vehicle right there, and the females are right there.
Okay, so now, Ms. Gilman, if you wouldn't mind just running this straight through until about 7.5 minutes. Just one moment, Your Honor.
Sure.
Prosecutions. I have no further questions to this witness, Your Honor.
All right. Will there be a cross exam? Because this may be a good time to stop if there is.
There will be a cross-examination.
Okay. So, jurors, we're going to stop for the day. All right, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Officer Sheriff. Is there anything that you would like to change or amend or modify about your testimony yesterday that you thought about overnight?
No.
Did you discuss your testimony with any person between the time you got off the stand yesterday and coming back to the courtroom?
No.
Officer Sheriff, I want to ask you a question about, or a couple of questions about something called a dispatch log. You know what a dispatch log is?
Yes.
What is a dispatch log? Can you describe to the jurors?
Just notes saying what time calls come in and sometimes a short synopsis of what happened on the call.
It's an official document generated by the Canton Police Department, correct?
That's correct.
And it's kept in the ordinary course of business?
Yes.
It's created at or near the time of the event that it's recording?
Yes.
And it's supposed to be accurate?
Yes.
Is that yes?
Yes.
Okay. And in fact, what it has is the dispatch details of the event that's in question. Whatever officers show up, what time they show up, the order in which they show up, the location to which they're dispatched, things of that nature, correct?
Yes.
Have you looked at the dispatch log in this case?
No, I have not.
May I approach on it?
Yes.
This has been pre-marked as Exhibit 27. Take a glance at that and tell me if you recognize that document.
Yes, sir.
How do you recognize it?
It looks like the log in question.
Okay, so that's the dispatch log for what date?
The
I'm
29th.
assuming
So your
this
name,
is where
somewhere on the
it
dispatch
just
log?
says 32 Fairview. And I just want to point out too,
Yes.
if you
You're right,
guys
one of the three
haven't
officers that's called.
listened to the Google Drive audios of the dispatch phone calls, and if you guys want me to play them, I will, because listening to Deborah's calls, especially, she verbally calls it 34 Fairview first, and then every subsequent one it's called 32, as if maybe told to say it differently. It's weird that she got it correct in the beginning, but then consecutively after that got it wrong. Just my opinion.
The scene?
Yes,
And that looks like the dispatch log for the call out that you were testifying about yesterday. Is that right?
that's correct.
May I approach one?
Yes.
May I publish this as we
Yes.
discuss it? That is really small font. May I approach one more time?
Yes.
This is not an eye contest.
Thought it was not.
I should say. Oh, look at that. The magic of technology. All right. You can either look up on the screen or look at the dispatch log that's in front of you. I'll try to look at the one on the screen, but my eyes aren't that great either. If you look to the right, there appear to be 3 entries for the dispatch of the officers that were on the scene about which you testified yesterday, correct?
Yes, sir.
And in fact, it has this dispatch log shows that you and then Officer Mullaney and then Sergeant Good all arrived to 32 Fairview that morning within 7 seconds of each other, correct?
That's what it says, yes.
It actually has Officer Mullaney arriving first at 6:09:26. You see that?
Yes.
And you see that it also has 3 seconds later at 6:09:29 you arriving. Is that right?
6:29 it says. Excuse me. It's 6:09. Yes.
6:09 and 29 seconds.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yep.
Whoa.
That's okay. And then it has
There
Sergeant Good
are
arrive.
so many phone logs that they should have gotten that they didn't. I don't know if they did or not. Maybe it's just not in the document dump that's on the Google Drive. I know that there's a lot more stuff coming that hasn't been put out. But I did read through John and Higgins' texts to and from each other the other night on my stream. The one that where the thumbnail says Miss Scarlett and Crispy spill some tea with a purple background. If you want to see all of his texts, if you haven't yet, it's interesting because I talk about, and I'm still dealing with the way that John and Higgins texts stop, and then the way that Karen and Higgins text stop, and then Karen just texts that morning John's dead? Like, and then no response. So it's weird. And I'm still trying to, someone pointed out to me that it may be, you know, like an FU or, you know, a passive aggressive way to like shove it in Higgins' face. Like, look, you know, now John's dead, so fuck you, or something to that effect. But to me, like the text prior to that between Higgins and Karen, and then I don't know. Obviously, Karen doesn't think that Higgins knows this has happened and just sends those two words. It's very strange to me. And then for Higgins not to respond at all. Like, what are you talking about? Or if he already knew, oh, I did hear what happened. I'm so sorry. Or something. Nothing. It's just strange how John and Higgins text stop, Karen and Higgins text stop, then this happens, and then Karen sends that one text to him in the way she sends it, and him not to send any sort of response is just weird, crazy.
Having 4 seconds after you at 6:09 and 33 seconds.
Sure.
Correct?
Yep.
So all three of you, according to the official document generated by Canton Police Department for this event, has Officer Mulaney arriving first, you arriving second, Sergeant Good arriving third, all within 7 seconds of each other. Correct?
Correct.
That is completely false, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. You've looked at your dispatch. Your dash cam. Correct? And clearly, we saw it yesterday. You arrived, and there's nobody else on scene.
Correct.
That was at about 6:10 a.m. that you arrived. Correct?
About that, yes.
And then Officer Mulaney actually arrives after you about 6:11 a.m. Is that right?
Yes.
And Sergeant Good does not arrive, according to your own dash cam, until about 6:16, a little after quarter after 6.
Yep.
All right. So right off the bat, the official Canton Police Department dispatch log, one of the first documents generated in any investigative event, that's completely wrong, right?
The times are, yes.
Well, the times and the orders, right? I mean, not only did Officer Mulaney not arrive first, you arrived first,
That's
and
right.
then he arrived.
Sure.
So that's two things that are wrong about just that, correct?
Sure.
And then it has Sergeant Good arriving 4 seconds after you, which is also incorrect.
Yep.
He didn't arrive until about 6 or 7 minutes after you, right?
Sure.
All right.
It's insane.
Did you ever have
how
you reviewed
much
this document in the
wrong
past?
on that.
No.
You've never seen the dispatch log?
No.
Did you ever seek to make sure that the dispatch log that's so important and so vital in an investigation was actually accurate before it was turned over to the defense, for instance?
No, I didn't.
All right. But without that dispatch log, without your dash cam, we would be relying on your dispatch log to be true and accurate. Is that right?
Other than what I'm saying that would happen, correct?
And do you think it's accurate otherwise?
Not in order, no. It's not.
Well,
Not in
obviously,
order, no.
Other than
In
the
time.
order
what
and the
you're
time. that
saying
the officers responded.
happened would have been what's in the log, which is obviously false. If we didn't have your dash cam, would you still be saying what you're saying? Or would you be saying what's in that report, which is all false information? I wonder.
Is it correct in all other specs in your mind?
Can you rephrase that?
Sure.
Say it one more time.
Let's take away the order and the time that the officers responded. Ignore that. Is the dispatch log otherwise accurate?
Yes.
Take a look at the left-hand column where it's highlighted in green. What's that address?
Highlighted in green?
On the screen, it's highlighted.
I'm sorry.
I didn't see it.
I don't have the document.
That's okay. It says 32 Fairview.
Did you arrive to 32 Fairview Road?
No.
You arrived to 34 Fairview Road.
That's correct. Yep.
So that even the location on the dispatch log is faulty. Is that right?
Sure. Yep.
May I put you on?
Yes.
Just an oopsie. Oh, wait. Sorry, another oopsie. Oh, another oopsie. So, what? 4 oopsies on one call log?
You testified at a grand jury in April of
Ridiculous.
2022, correct?
I did.
At that grand jury, do you remember telling the grand jurors what address you actually responded to?
Lights, please.
Don't recall. Probably what I said in the grand jury.
Refresh your recollection if you took a quick glance
Sure.
at a copy of your grand jury testimony. May I put you on?
Yes.
Thank you.
Officer Sheriff, I've done you the favor of highlighting a page on page 9. Where did you indicate to the grand jurors that you actually
It
arrived?
says 35 Fairview.
I know what it says. I'm asking if it refreshes your recollection that you actually testified under oath that you responded to 35 Fairview.
Yes.
And that is incorrect as well, isn't it?
Yes.
May I put you on?
Yes.
Have you reviewed any of the other officers' reports that relate to your dispatch out to the location that you've been testifying?
No, I did not.
Did you ever review Sergeant Good's report?
No.
Are you aware that have you ever discussed with Sergeant Good that he wrote in his official report that you responded to 32 Fairview Road?
No.
And of course, we just talked about the fact that the dispatch log lists 32 Fairview Road and not 34 Fairview Road, correct?
Correct.
So none of the initial police reports, not the dispatch log, not your police report, apparently not Sergeant Goods, list 34 Fairview Road as the actual location where you responded that morning, correct?
As far as I know, yes. Yes, sir.
Was there an effort on your part or anybody else's, to your knowledge, to mask the actual address of Brian Albert's house as 34 Fairview Road?
No. No.
All those were just mistakes.
Yes.
Over and over and over.
Yes.
When you made contact with the victim and the women that you described yesterday,
At the very
did you see
least,
any
that
evidence
shows
that
how
any of the women had been
incompetent they
engaged
are.
in life-saving measures?
Yes.
What did you see?
It appeared that Camry was doing mouth-to-mouth on John O'Keefe.
You saw, I don't want to get too graphic, but you saw blood on her face?
Yes, I did.
You saw blood on his face?
That's correct.
You saw blood in her hair?
No, I didn't see anything.
You didn't notice that?
No, I didn't notice that.
Okay. But certainly blood on her face from having engaged in some sort of CPR activity?
Yes.
Mouth resuscitation, you said?
It looked like it, yes.
Okay. You also saw Carrie Roberts seemingly assisting with chest compressions. Is that right?
I'm asking a question.
Sorry?
Objection? Just
No, you can ask it. The question hasn't been asked yet. Finish the question.
Thank you, Your Honor. Did you also see Carrie Roberts seemingly assisting in chest compressions?
I don't remember who exactly it was, but it appeared that somebody was doing
What about
purchase.
the third woman, Jennifer McCabe?
They were all around the body.
Did you see Jennifer McCabe ever engage with John O'Keefe as he lay on the ground and assist in any life-saving measures? Did you witness that?
I don't recall.
That's
But you do recall
interesting,
Mike
Sarah,
Lance engaged.
Yes.
Isn't it true that Jennifer McCabe,
that you always thought Karen texted that last text to Higgy as bait. See, that's why I appreciate, that's why I say things, because I want other people's opinions on how they see things, because some things I can't figure out. I just know it's strange and can't figure out what reason there would be for it. But that makes sense too. Like, to see what his response would be. That's definitely interesting. And if that were the case, if that were true, to be honest though, and I'm not saying it's not, because it could easily be, but if it were, wouldn't you think she would have brought this up to her lawyers way before she did? Because the fact that he didn't respond tells you a lot more than what she texted to him. I'm still trying to figure out why she worded it with just those 2 words to him. But that doesn't bother me nearly as much as the fact that he didn't send anything back to her. Nothing. Not, I already heard, or oh my God, or I'm so sorry. Anything. Nothing. The no response to that is what drives me crazy.
pulled you aside while my client and Carrie Roberts stayed with John O'Keefe and
Did I
began
just
engaging in
fast
human
forward by
conversation?
accident?
And she was
No.
providing.
5 Fairview.
No, I didn't.
I
Okay.
know what it says. I'm asking if it refreshes your recollection that you actually testified under oath that you responded to 35 Fairview.
Yes.
And that is incorrect as well, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, Coach Young?
Yes.
Have you reviewed any of the other officers' reports that relate to your dispatch out to the location that you've been testifying?
No, I did not.
Did you ever review Sergeant Good's report?
No.
Are you aware that have you ever discussed with Sergeant Good that he wrote in his official report that you responded to 32 Fairview Road?
No.
And of course, we just talked about the fact that the dispatch log lists 32 Fairview Road and not 34 Fairview Road, correct?
Correct.
So none of the initial police reports, not the dispatch log, not your police report, apparently not Sergeant Good's, list 34 Fairview Road as the actual location where you responded that morning, correct?
As far as I know, yes. Yes, sir.
Was there an effort on your part or anybody else's, to your knowledge, to mask the actual address of Brian Albert's house as 34 Fairview Road?
No. No.
All those were just mistakes.
Yes.
Over and over and over.
Yes.
Yep. Oopsie. Oopsie.
When you made contact with the victim and the women that you described yesterday, did you see any evidence that any of the women had been engaged in life-saving measures?
Yes.
What did you see?
It appeared that Camry was doing mouth-to-mouth on John O'Keefe.
You saw, I don't want to get too graphic, but you saw blood on her face?
Yes, I did.
You saw blood on his face?
That's correct.
You saw blood in her hair?
No, I didn't see anything.
Did you notice that?
No, I didn't notice that.
Okay. But certainly blood on her face from having engaged in some sort of CPR activity?
Yes.
Mouth resuscitation, you said?
It looked like it, yes.
Okay. You also saw Carrie Roberts seemingly assisting with chest compressions.
That I don't know, Sarah.
Question.
Sorry?
Objection? Just
No,
no.
If they
no, you can
told
ask if the question hasn't been asked yet.
paused it.
Finish the question.
Thank you, Your Honor. Did you also see Carrie Roberts?
I haven't checked the Google Drive in a couple days, but I have not seen anything on Karen's extraction yet. So I have no idea. I would love to know because of course of how Higgins got his phone extraction and cherry picked what he thought should be turned over. You know? I mean, that just goes down a whole nother, rabbit hole. Like, I have been down that rabbit hole and I still have a zillion questions. Like, it's insane. All of this stuff is insane. And when you look at, if you look at just the smallest of each, a smallest explanation of every instance in this case of things that wouldn't be normal in a case, things that are completely blatantly lies in a case, things that you would never do as a police officer, all of the things that are completely wrong with this case, even if you were to briefly summarize them as short as you possibly can, the amount of issues with this case is mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. And then when you go down each of the instances of issues with this case, the rabbit holes you can go down and wonder how this could have happened, or how didn't someone say something, or how didn't this come up to, like, dude, this is not how we should do things, or this is not how a normal person would react. This is like, it's like you could just sit on this case forever. That's why I truly respect Sam Beningo. Like, she dedicates so much time to going through everything, every little thing, psychologically speaking and behavior wise. It's crazy. I couldn't imagine doing what she's doing. Like, even just doing my one video that I was working on regarding group thinking and, leading me to watching this trial. I can't imagine going into depth, like how much time it would take to go over every instance of something wrong with this case. It's mind-blowing. That's all I can say. It's insane. If Karen's extraction comes, I will definitely check it out as soon as I find it and find out if that's the case, because it would be interesting, especially to see if it wasn't the case. Let's say Higgins did send a text back to that, a response. No matter what it is, you'd wonder why he didn't provide it, But I think no response is very, very telling.
Seemingly assisting in chest compressions.
I don't remember who exactly it was. It appeared that somebody was doing
What about
purchase.
the third woman, Jennifer McCabe?
They were all around the body.
Did you see Jennifer McCabe ever engage with John O'Keefe as he lay on the ground and assist in any life-saving measures? Did you witness that?
I don't recall.
But you do recall my client engaged.
Yes.
Isn't it true that Jennifer McCabe pulled you aside while my client and Carrie Roberts stayed with John O'Keefe and began engaging you in conversation?
Yes.
And she was providing some sort of a narrative to you, correct?
Correct.
While the other two women are trying to save John O'Keefe's life, she's talking to you.
For brief seconds, I would say.
For brief seconds?
Yes.
You saw the dash cam video. There was several minutes on the dash cam video where she's standing and having a conversation with you. Are those the brief seconds?
I don't know what time frame you're talking about.
Right after you got there.
Right after I got there.
Correct. Did you ever see Jennifer McCabe do anything physically to help John O'Keefe?
No, I didn't see anything.
Did Jennifer McCabe offer to you during that brief seconds that you described, this narrative she was having, this conversation she was having with you, did she ever offer the fact that she was standing in front of her sister's house?
No.
Did she ever offer the fact that her brother-in-law, who lives in the house, is a first responder?
Objection.
Sustained.
Were you apprised at any time while you were out there that the homeowner was a first responder?
Objection.
Sustained.
Based on your observations
Wow.
between Karen Reed and
What's
Jennifer
wrong
McCabe,
with that
which one of
question?
those women appeared to be more focused on trying to save John's life in the moment?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
Can you repeat the question, sir?
Between Karen Reed and Jennifer McCabe, which one of those two women, based on your observations, appeared to you to be more focused on physically trying to save John O'Keefe's
So
life
he
in the
can
moment?
give an
At that point, it was
on
Karen Reed.
who he thinks did more life-saving actions. He can give that opinion, But he can't tell the court if Jen McCabe mentioned who was in that house or not. What the fuck?
Agree with me, Officer Sheriff, that in any investigation, details matter, accuracy matters, correct?
Sure.
Reports are written in police investigations in order to memorialize observations, things heard, seen, experienced by the officers, correct?
Yes.
And generally speaking, you're trained to write those reports and memorialize those observations as quickly as possible so that things are fresh in your memory.
Correct.
You don't want to write a report about an incident that you respond to today, 2 years from now.
No.
As a matter of fact, you're trained exactly the opposite. When you respond to a scene, it's somewhat important. You need to get it down on paper as quickly as possible for detail and accuracy, right?
Yes.
You did, in fact, write a report, a supplemental report for this investigation, where you laid out your observations of that morning, correct?
That's correct.
These are called incident reports, correct?
Yes.
I'm holding what appears to be a multi-page document that is entitled an incident report. May I approach?
Yes.
Take a look at the tab on the page.
Hmm?
And tell me if you recognize what's on that page.
I'm sorry.
Do you recognize that? All I'm asking you is, do you recognize that as your report?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay.
Sorry.
Did you write that?
Yes, sir.
When did you write that?
I believe the morning of.
So that would be January 29th,
That's correct.
a little bit later in the morning after you left the scene.
Yes.
And you were reflecting back on what had just happened minutes or hours before, correct?
Yep.
And you were trying to be as truthful as possible, correct?
Yes.
You're trying to be as accurate as possible,
Yes.
as comprehensive as possible,
Yes.
and as thorough as possible.
Yes.
You wrote in that report, quote, Karen Reed kept screaming, "Is he dead? Is he dead?" She was severely distraught and not able to tell me what happened. Correct?
That's correct.
May I approach?
Yes.
There was no limit to the amount of words that you could put on the page, correct?
Nope.
Matter of fact, there's a ton of white space. It's left unutilized, right?
That's correct.
You could have taken as much time as you wanted to in writing this report. Is that right?
Sure.
And it was, is that yes?
Yes.
There was no reason to abbreviate anything. Is that right?
Nope.
And you tried to be as accurate as you possibly could in that moment
Yes.
and put everything down in that report that reflected what you experienced, what you observed, and what you heard that morning, correct?
Yes.
And the only statement you attribute to my client on that morning, just hours after the incident or minutes after the incident, was she kept repeating, "Is he dead?" Correct?
Yes.
You were interviewed by Michael Proctor the next day, weren't you?
I don't know what day it was, but you can
Refresh your recollection, take a look at that report.
Sure.
May I approach you?
Yes.
Take a look at that report that's dated March 15, but reflects an interview on January 30, and then tell me if you recognize it.
Looks like it's his report.
Okay, that's Trooper Proctor's report of an interview that he did with you, correct?
Yes.
And if you look on the second page, paragraph about what you stated to Trooper Proctor.
That's highlighted? Is
I
that?
highlighted for you.
Yes.
Okay. Did you tell Trooper Proctor, let me withdraw that, ask it a different way. Were you trying to be as thorough and comprehensive with Trooper Proctor as you were in your own report?
Yes.
You weren't holding anything back in that interview, correct?
No.
You wanted to be as truthful?
Sarah, I'm reading your comment. Okay, I think Hickey was in the dispatch room filling Good and Berkowitz and on everything. Probably stayed in there with Deborah as well. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I just going back to right there, what is the reason she would have the correct address in the very beginning and then change it to the wrong one? Like, that makes no sense to me. Like, someone specifically told her, no, it's 32, not 34, or somebody had to have fed her 32 for her to get it, to change it from being correct to incorrect. It's crazy.
And as honest as you possibly could.
Yep.
And as comprehensive as you possibly could, correct?
Yes.
You told Trooper Proctor that you could, quote, hear Karen Reed continually state, "Is he dead?" as the paramedics treated the victim. Officer Seraph then seen Karen inside her friend's vehicle, correct?
Correct.
So the only statement you attributed to my client the day after this incident was those two words, "Is he dead?" that she continually repeated. Is that right? Yes. Thank you. May I approach?
Yes.
In the two times that you were asked to reflect back on exactly what happened that morning, on January 29th and January 30th, both times you attributed only three words to my client having been repeated continually in her distraught state. "Is he dead?" Right?
Yes.
And she wasn't saying that calmly.
No.
Matter of fact, you used the word she was severely distraught. Is that right?
That's correct.
When you say severely distraught, we saw part of that on your dash cam. She was emotional.
Yes.
Upset.
Yes.
Focused on John.
Yes.
Trying to save his life.
Yes.
And asking, what was the question that she asked?
Is he dead?
Over and over and over. Correct?
Correct.
Then you were asked to testify in April of 2022, April 14th of 2022, at a state-run grand jury by the Commonwealth.
Yes.
In fact, Mr. Lally was the fine prosecutor who was asking you the questions, correct?
Yes.
Between the time you wrote your report on January 29th and you gave a statement officially on January 30th, between that time and when you testified in April of 2022, do you have any meetings with anybody from the Massachusetts State Police?
No,
Do you have any meetings with Mr. Lally?
No.
Did Mr. Lally put you on the stand without talking to you first?
no. For this trial?
Nope. I'm just, the dates in question are up to April 14th, 2022. The grand jury.
I don't recall.
You don't recall if you met with either Mr. Lally or any of his contemporaries to discuss your potential testimony?
Not. I don't recall meeting with him for that. No. One time I met with him in his office was a couple weeks ago with this.
In preparation for this testimony?
Correct.
But your testimony now is that he didn't meet with you or you did not connect with him to discuss your testimony before the April grand jury?
I don't recall.
When you did testify in that grand jury, you changed your story, didn't you?
No.
You believe you testified completely consistently at that grand jury as you had in your report?
Isn't that hard
I
to
testified for what I
believe?
remember what happened, sir.
I see. Was your memory better in April
And he
than it
would
was
go to a
minutes or hours after the event?
jury without
Was it better?
Was it better or worse?
any
I
discussion.
don't know.
with Lally.
Do you think your memory gets better as time goes on?
Not usually, no.
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 Usually it's the opposite, isn't it?
Yes.
Memories get foggy, we fade.
Yes.
Which is why you write reports the day of the incident, if you can, correct?
Yes.
You remember what you testified to at the grand jury in April of 2022?
The whole thing?
No, sorry, that's a bad question on my part. Just as it relates to statements attributed to my client.
Yes.
What was your exact testimony in April of 2022?
I'd have to look at my.
Will you refresh your recollections if you saw a copy of your
Sure.
grand jury transcript? May I approach?
Yes.
Let me know once you remember, once you review that and tell me if that refreshes your recollection.
Yes, it does.
In fact, on April 14th, 2022, months after this event, for the first time, you said, quote, and these are your words, tell me if I get them right. She, this is my fault. I don't know. She said, I can't believe this happened. I mean, she kept asking if he was going to die, if he's dead. And, I just basically said, we're doing the best that we could, end quote.
That's correct.
May I approach?
Yes.
So in April of 2022, for the first time, you attributed the phrase, this is my fault. I can't believe this happened to my client, correct?
That's correct.
But nowhere in your official report did you say that.
That's correct.
And nowhere in your interview with Trooper Proctor the next day did you say that.
That's correct.
You think that was a pretty important omission on your part?
It was an oversight.
An oversight.
Yes, sir.
That a woman
Site.
whom you made contact
God.
with, standing over the body of a fallen police officer, said to you, this is my fault. Dismiss that.
So let's get this
Yes, yes,
straight.
yes,
So
write it down.
far we have oopsie 1, oopsie 2, oopsie 3, oopsie 4 on the dispatch call log. And now on his very detailed report, where he admits obviously details matter, and he did it the very same day, as soon as he got back to the police department. Not days later, hours. I just admit, it was an oversight that I didn't put in there the most important piece of someone admitting to hitting. Yeah. How does anyone believe this shit? Sadly, I do know why people believe this shit. Now, there is a big difference too between actually believing it and just participating in the group of people who say they believe it. Those are two different things as well, which I get into in my whole group thinking video, which hopefully I can get done as soon as I'm done with watching this trial.
And then, of course, you testified yesterday, and your statement changed again, right?
I don't.
Remember what you said yesterday, these jurors?
I don't. Word for word.
Well, I wrote it down. Let's see if this helps. Yesterday, you said, my client said, quote, it's all my fault. I did this, end quote.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes.
Say yes?
Yes, sir.
But you didn't say that at the grand jury.
No.
And you didn't say that to Trooper Proctor.
No, sir.
And you didn't put it in your report.
That's correct.
If you were to testify in another 2 or 3 weeks, you think your statement would just keep evolving?
Objection.
Sustained.
Now I want to shift gears for a second and talk about what history
Alan Jackson.
actually said that morning. You said that you reviewed your dash cam video, correct?
Once.
Do you remember when you arrived? One of the first things out of your mouth was the question, what happened?
Yes.
That would be a natural question to
Sure.
ask.
Yeah.
Right? You assess the scene and assess the situation.
Absolutely.
And you want to listen closely to what that answer was, correct?
Sure.
Ms. Reed did in fact answer you, didn't she?
I don't recall what you said.
She said, quote, my boyfriend, I left him and he never came home, end quote. Correct?
I don't know. I don't recall.
You agreed, we've already agreed, that details matter in any investigation.
Absolutely.
They certainly matter in this investigation, correct?
You don't
Yes, sir.
recall
We're going
that?
to take a look at what's
Surely
been pre-marked as Exhibit
recall
26. This is
It's long
about
later that.
3:50
that I-
runtime. I'm not looking at the
Right,
actual.
okay.
I'm not looking at the actual time of day. Over here, I'm looking at the runtime, which is down at the bottom. So if Mr. Bates, you can put this up. Awesome. Just to orient everybody, does this appear to be your dash cam?
Yes, sir.
Same dash cam you were looking at yesterday?
Yes.
Okay, let's go ahead and put Mr. Bates. Awesome. Officer Seraph, just like it's not an eye exam, it's not a hearing exam either. I'm going to do the best I can to raise the volume. And Officer Seraph, I want to focus your attention, if you wouldn't mind, on 9 seconds after you say what happened. Just count in your head and listen very, very carefully to the woman's voice that responds to what she says. Go ahead. Awesome. Very, very hard to hear. Have you listened to that before?
No.
Does it appear to you, she said, my boyfriend, I left him and he never came home?
I couldn't understand anything.
Okay.
You're good, Sarah.
Let's replay it one more time. Turn the volume on one more time right at that moment.
Who's live right now?
Sorry, I was asking Officer Sarah, please listen to, there's a din of noise, obviously, road noise, wind noise, etc. It's your dash
I
cam.
can't hear what
the
he's
audio
trying
of your
to
dash
clean
cam.
out. Does
When you close the
anyone
door, listen
know?
very carefully about 9 seconds after you say what
Someone else
happened.
must be viewing
or a
our
woman's voice and see if you can
stream
make
right
out
now.
what that
Lots of
voice says.
people. A couple of you that are here. Does anyone know what he's trying to elicit out of this video? Because I cannot hear what is said. Does anyone know?
Tough. Did you hear? I left him and he never came home.
Oh, I left
I
him and
couldn't
never
understand
came
what
home.
he was saying.
You couldn't understand that?
No.
You want to hear it one more time?
I don't think.
Turn the lights on, please.
Gotcha. He was
If
trying
my client had said, my boyfriend, I left him and he never came home, would that be something that you would find important to put in your report?
Objection.
Sustained.
What?
Let's move to another area of the dash cam video. Do you recognize your dash cam video being on the left of the screen?
I don't know why I'm surprised.
Okay. Have you looked at Sergeant Good's dash cam video?
Some of
which is
these
squared up on the right side of the screen?
objections that are
No.
You never seen
sustained
it?
are
No.
just
Okay.
ridiculous.
Does it appear to you that these are two different perspectives of the same scene? In other words, you see the car or the SUV on the left side of the screen right here, correct?
Yes, sir.
See that same SUV right there, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Does that appear to be two different perspectives, two different angles
Yes.
of basically the same thing?
Yes.
Okay. I want to draw your attention to the individuals to the left of the SUV right here. There's a person wearing a hood with fur on it. Is that Carrie Roberts? Do you remember?
I don't know.
There appears to be another person with a darker jacket standing just in front of that person with the hood and fur. You see that person?
Oh,
Yes.
Auntie Bev, stop
Um,
breathing in the
I'm going to ask you
microphone.
to focus on the person with a
Fine.
darker jacket.
Oh,
I believe, and the only reason I'm asking you to focus at this point is because I want to try to play this just once and see if
Well,
you
you need a
recognize
break.
what's depicted in the video.
like always.
What I expect you may see is this person move out of sight behind the SUV, and then in the background there's an SUV parked in the driveway. Pay special attention to that portion of the SUV and see if you see that person in the dark jacket pass from right to left in front of that SUV as if they're going to the house. Let's go ahead and play it. Go ahead and pause it. Have you seen the person in the dark jacket leave the view?
Yes.
Did she appear to go behind the SUV?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead and play it. Let's stop there. And now I'm going to ask you to draw your attention to that car with snow on it. Pay special attention to that car as the film continues to run. Go ahead. Pause. Do you see a person standing in front of the car?
It appears to be a person. Yes.
Walking from right to left?
Yes.
Would that be toward the house?
Yes, it would be.
And also, if you wouldn't mind switching your perspective, now you're looking more at the front of the house. Continue watching the film and see if you see that same person walking toward the house. Stop. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see. Oh, yeah. Yes. I saw the shadow. Yes.
Right. Shadow of a person
Yes.
walking toward the front of the house. That was Jennifer McKay going into the house, wasn't it?
I have no idea.
Was it a person going into the house?
It was a person, yes.
Did you give anybody any permission to go into the house?
No, ma'am.
Would you think that a witness in a homicide scene, we can go ahead and raise the lights, thank you. Would you think that a witness at a homicide scene being allowed to go into a house to make contact with other witnesses?
I didn't know it was a homicide scene, sir.
If I could finish my question. Do you think it's appropriate for a witness at a potential homicide scene, an unconscious person scene, whatever crime scene?
Yes.
To make contact with other witnesses and begin discussing the situation unsupervised?
Can you rephrase that question, sir?
Do you think that's an appropriate thing to have happen?
I have no answer for that, sir. I don't know what you're asking.
Officer Sheriff, when you go to a crime scene,
Yes, sir.
one of the first things that you want to do is secure the scene and separate witnesses so that interviews can be conducted, correct?
Sure.
You wouldn't want witnesses just cavorting together and getting their story straight, right?
Correct.
You'd want to avoid that at all costs, right?
Yes. Yes.
And why is that?
So they can't collaborate their story.
Yet there was a woman,
Exactly.
there was a person walking from the area where a body was found in the lawn of a house, walking into the house to make contact with other individuals, correct?
It appeared that way, yes, sir.
Does that seem appropriate to you?
No.
Of course not.
Wow, I'm
We
surprised
talked
you
a bit about
admitted
what you
it.
did and didn't hear at the scene from my client. At any point when you were at that location, did you hear my client repeating the phrase, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him?
She said, I hit him? No, I didn't hear that part.
You never heard her whisper it, yell it, say it, or otherwise.
Not that I recall.
If you had heard that statement, you likely would have written it down, wouldn't you?
Yes.
You likely would have reported that to Trooper Proctor the next day, wouldn't you?
Yes.
You likely would have mentioned it in your grand jury testimony, correct?
Yes.
And you did none of those things because you did not hear that statement, correct?
I did not hear that, no.
Oh, wow.
Sir, you were at 34 Fairview for more than an hour before you cleared the scene, right?
Yes, sir.
You were at the location of the body of John O'Keefe.
Yes.
In other words, you just didn't stay in your cruiser. You walked out to where John O'Keefe was.
No, I was in my cruiser at different times.
Must have been a bad question.
Okay.
You didn't just stay in your cruiser. At points, you got out of your cruiser, walked over, made contact with the women, and you were standing next to the body.
Yes.
And you were obviously looking around. You noticed some footprints.
Yes.
And you didn't even notice a lack of footprints.
That's correct.
So you were being observant at the area of the body
Yes.
and the area adjacent to the body.
Yes.
You were looking for anything that might have been out of place?
Yes.
Anything of any evidentiary value, correct?
Yes.
You never saw or otherwise observed or located a single piece of taillight material, did you?
No.
You certainly didn't see 45 pieces of broken plastic or taillight material, did you?
No.
You never located or otherwise observed John O'Keefe's missing shoe?
No.
Or any other clothing of his?
I didn't. No.
Officer Sheriff, did you ever attempt to look inside the house
No.
for that missing shoe?
No.
That never crossed your mind?
No.
You think that might have been a smart thing to do at the time?
Objection, Your Honor.
Rephrase the question.
Sure. Do you think that would have been appropriate protocol when dealing with a body laying on a lawn that is partially unclothed to look inside the house of the lawn?
No.
You didn't think that would have been appropriate protocol?
No.
For you or anybody else?
No.
Wow.
Obviously, you did not conduct a search of that house, did you?
Nope.
And you're aware that to this day, no law enforcement officer ever conducted a search of that house.
Sorry.
I'm not aware of that.
But if that was anybody else's
Yeah, just one
house,
Yes.
No further questions, Joe. Thank you.
Anything, Mr. Lally?
Briefly, Your Honor.
that was anyone else's house, they would have been in there immediately. Like he just said, did not know it was a homicide scene, did not know what kind of scene it was. When you find someone out on the lawn with clothes not appropriately clothed for the outside, like he was already walking outside, and boots and winter jacket and all that stuff. I'm sorry. The first inclination is, oh, I wonder if he ran out from that house for some reason. Huh. It's common sense. Anyways, we are done with Officer Sarah. Thank you guys for being with me today. And tomorrow it looks like we are going, let's see, who's next? I think it's Officer Malini. Want to double check. Oops. So, yep. So tomorrow I'm probably going to go on at the same time if all works out. And if a different time works for you guys, please let me know in Discord or email me. If you guys collectively or whatever individually want a different time, let me know. Because I'm trying obviously to get as many people in the chat and watching with me as possible. So I want a time that works for everybody that wants to come. But as of right now, I'm looking probably same time tomorrow, about 5 o'clock. We'll do Officer Mulaney, Timothy Nuttall, which is the firefighter paramedic. Let's see, I'm going to go about 2-3 hours here. So we'll probably get through Officer Mulaney, Timothy Nuttall, and firefighter Flamati. And we may get through firefighter Kelly as well, because his looks kind of short. So how's that sound, guys? Alrighty. Yay. Thank you, Sarah. Yay. So, yep, I'm looking forward to those because I know, actually, I think all of them have some interesting stuff that I've seen clips of. So I'm definitely interested in seeing their entire testimony. So we'll look forward to that. And I will see you guys in the chats. And I'll see you all tomorrow if you're here about 5 o'clock. Bye.